Hej og velkommen tilbage til den her sag i Adam Montgomery-sagen, hvor vi har med en tiltalt at gøre, som angiveligt har stjålet nogle våben. Det er måske ikke den største sag, det her. Det, der er mere interessant, det er, at han i næste måned skal i retten, fordi at han angiveligt har dræbt sin egen datter. Den her sag, den handler for den tiltalte om at gøre vidnerne så utroværdige som muligt, da det kan være med til at sikre ham, at når hans anden sag kommer for, så tror juryen måske ikke helt så meget på det, de siger. I den første dag, der hørte vi fra manden, der havde fået stjålet våbnene, den mands kone, som ham Adam her havde taget stoffer med om aftenen, og hvor våbnene forsvandt. Og så hørte vi lidt fra ham, der angiveligt skulle have fået tilbudt at købe våbnene, og det var faktisk der, vi sluttede i går. Der kom nogle fortællinger frem. Jeg synes både anklageren og forsvareren fik gjort det så på den bedst mulige måde for dem selv i deres opening statements. Desværre så forsvaren, hun var måske ikke helt så skarp, når hun skulle udspørge vidnerne, og fik lidt en tendens til at vrøvle lidt, men vi ser, hvordan det går i dag. Hello and welcome back to day 2 in this Adam Montgomery trial. It's a trial about firearms. He has been charged with handling illegal firearms. He's a felon. He can't have any firearms. It's not the most interesting case per se, but in August, this man will stand trial for perhaps murdering his own daughter. And this trial is for the defense side of the trial. It's very important for them to make the witnesses appear as least credible as possible, because a lot of those witnesses will come back to the other case, and for the defense, it would be nice if they have them telling different stories so they can say, well, you're not a credible witness, and maybe help Adam in that way. Yesterday, we had the opening statements. I thought that both sides did a pretty good job telling the story about what happened. The attorney said Adam stole the weapons. He was at this house doing drugs with the firearms owner's wife. The wife said she fell asleep, and when she woke up, the guns were gone. She had lied multiple times before to the police, but yesterday she claimed that she told the truth, and it was Adam who had done it. And then we had a drug dealer slash weapons dealer who said that Adam reached out to him trying to sell him some guns for 30 grams of cocaine and $80. And I think he ended up saying that he could have 10 grams of coke and the money. So I think that the prosecutor did a better job doing the interrogation of the witnesses yesterday. The defense had a strong opening, but she started to go down some routes where it was very confusing where she wanted to go. But we'll jump into it again today and see where the witnesses will lead us today, and hopefully we'll find out who done it or if he didn't do it. It's as always important to remember that he's charged with a crime, but he's not guilty until he's found guilty of the crime. But let's jump into it, and thank you all for showing up. It's nice to have someone in the chat to entertain me while we're listening to this plethora of crack addicts and face tattoos. But let's jump into it and see where this will lead us today. Sorry, just doing my housekeeping. That's the one. And let's begin to see where they are.
I guess. Also, it's my understanding the clerk's office did cancel the transport for Mr. Harju, but it's also my understanding that he refused transport. So
we're starting with some problems already.
Order on that. Mr. Harju? Yeah, it was canceled, but I don't know. They may have gotten the cancellation the communication about the cancellation transmitted after they were planning on transporting him.
Indigo,
So-
it's afternoon, eftermiddag.
Isn't an
But,
issue for today, but
It's just
it
your
sounds
iPad
like it's
that's
going
making
to be an
problems.
issue.
Danish is a very beautiful
So-
language.
I guess,
Probably the best thing, Your Honor, would be that the state probably drafted pleading reports to the understanding that he had refused transport, restating again what we anticipate this testimony to be, and asking his transport.
Just as you said it, we can't hear the lawyers talking. They don't need any mics. I think first day in law school is you can't do math and you can't use mics.
What his order of witnesses are going to be for Monday. We hear some witnesses that we're going to typically show time on Monday. But if we can squeeze them in Monday afternoon, that we will let you know, I think, then. And if not, then we can plan it out for Wednesday. So that at least gives Mr. Harsher a little bit more time to think about what he needs to do.
right, though it's not really a choice.
No,
Um,
I should say how he wishes to behave.
okay. All right. I had you all come in a little earlier so that we could discuss any issues with Mr. LaBelle. We have Attorney Duckett here. Good morning.
Excuse me, Madam.
Yes.
Mr. LaBelle
Oh,
is the one who.
Yes, and then the original will go downstairs and
Adam
will get
Montgomery
uploaded into
in the
the.
end, not the Facebook guy from
Yes.
yesterday.
Mr. Duckett, so I'm not insisting that Mr. Montgomery be here
Okay.
based on what Mr. Attorney Duckett is saying.
It's in New Hampshire.
Okay, thank you. I did ask if you wanted him brought up for this, but if you don't need to, that's great. Thank you.
Get
Okay,
that.
okay,
I
thank
think
you.
we're starting out with the face tattoo guy again today. And then we have this quiz finding out.
Would
what his
prefer the lights on?
institutions
Okay.
say.
And he's ready to go.
Okay. And so is there any need to, one of the issues was the state saying that you may want it.
I think at this point, Your Honor, that we can
There was no report. He hasn't been seen by medical, and he doesn't want to be. At the prison, there's no report about this.
Okay.
So
I think you ruined it with the positive vibes about the audio.
Okay.
So in that case, Your Honor, I think I'll just ask him if he's comfortable testifying today. And I guess we'll move into questions.
That's sort of a loaded question. I don't know that anybody's ever comfortable testifying.
Well, I think I do need to make sure that he is fit and able to testify. So I've got to ask at least one or two questions to make sure that he's comfortable. Although I understand from Attorney Duckett that he feels that he is ready to testify and he's able to come up here today.
Just, I guess what I
Yes,
would
I
say
have
is
turned
ask
it
the
on,
standard
and,
questions that you would ask.
I can hear
in
it
the
going
event
up and
that you're
down
gonna
when they
go
try
any further than
to
that.
boost the signal.
I want you
but,
to approach the bench so that we can have a conversation about that.
But I think
Just
the
be-
court mics are not turned on, so we can only hear the judge. Yesterday it came in loud sometimes, and other times it was just
Right.
very
I
low.
guess the question is, if you ask him a preliminary question, oftentimes people do not want to testify. Let's say he answers, yeah, I would rather not be here. I don't want to testify. Is there any reason not to move on after that?
No.
Okay, that's really, I think, the question. Okay,
I think
anything else preliminary?
the problem with
All right,
this
very good.
LaBelle guy is he's not a good guy either. This case is filled with people who
Okay.
have been in prison, are in prison, charged with a lot of different things. So it will be interesting to see how many plead the fifth and say we don't want to talk in court.
One of them will require some consideration maybe over the lunch break and talk about what to do this week based on the pleading that I saw.
I can't hear you. Speak up.
Last night. I saw in my email this morning that the attorney has filed a motion for Richard's hearing. We shut the file, I guess, when 11:37 last night. I got it from so I did see that came in. Obviously, I think that's something that we're going to have to consider what the timing would be of when we would be able to have that hearing if that's what he is now asking. That was not my understanding before. We talked about that, I believe, back prior to jury selection. Was our understanding that he was going to be testifying consistent with this grand jury testimony. Attorney Shepherd has now filed that matter.
Did he send that by email to both of you?
I just got it through e-filing, Your Honor. I didn't get a direct email.
You got it through e-filing? Oh, did you get it through e-filing? Because I see,
certainly
maybe it's,
didn't check my e-filing this morning, Judge.
right,
I was on the road.
right, but if it was still in file and serve, I don't see why Attorney Ugadi would have gotten it.
Well, they once they serve it. Your Honor,
Here it is. It's it. It's been processed now. Once they serve it, they get it even though we can't see it?
don't you check?
I'm going to speed this up because it's just housekeeping.
If you're a service contact, you get a copy of it.
I see. Okay, so that may be why. Okay, what it is in now.
Just for clarification, Your Honor, it looks like this came into my inbox somewhere around 11:37.
I have not checked.
Okay,
since
so well, it wouldn't have. I wouldn't have seen it because it wouldn't get processed, and I can't see them. But apparently, you still can. Attorney Smith, I can print this out, so you have a copy of it too.
Thank you.
It's pretty easy to use. It just puts a toolbar
Okay, so
beneath
can you print it to this
the
one?
player in the
It's also the other
YouTube, and then you press it, and it boosts the audio. I put it on in the afternoon yesterday, and I think it works pretty well. So well that I have
Okay,
to
actually,
turn
they have a
down the
printed
sound
copy.
of
We can just
YouTube,
put a
so
printed copy
that's
of
why I was very low.
Professor, I haven't read it more than the top line and the relief. I hit the print button.
Yeah, we're not prepared to deal with this at all, I think.
I just want to flag it for the court because when you talk about what else. we need to-
No, I'm glad because it might just scheduling wise. I'm just taking a look at it. Hang on one second.
Yes, thank God it's Friday, and we get to celebrate it with crackheads and stolen
And when were you
guns.
thinking
The best
you were gonna call
Fridays.
him?
Obviously, not till next week, and not till the end of the state's case, so the Is that what- Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay, so I think we should schedule a hearing. If we end up not needing it, great. But given the docket, it's possible. What we could do is. So that we don't have to interfere with what we have scheduled here, I could do it Tuesday morning. So I could do it Tuesday morning, which is what?
I'm sorry, I've just sort of made other arrangements when you said that we wouldn't be coming in Tuesday.
Okay, that's okay. Well, if we can't, we can't.
Okay.
Are your other arrangements all
They're
day?
changeable.
What?
Absolutely changeable.
So will you tell me? I mean, otherwise, I think. Well, I guess we could do it, earlier on one of our trial days without necessarily interfering with our trial schedule. But I can't do it in the afternoon on Tuesday. But I could do it Tuesday morning. But if that doesn't work,
It was a gasp on my part, just I was surprised, but I can accommodate whatever the court decides. I can be here on Tuesday.
would you rather do that than change what you have? And I don't know. Can the state do it Tuesday morning?
That's fine.
Okay, would you rather do that, or would you rather do it early
I would
on another day?
rather do it early, but
What's that? Yeah, I mean, we could just do it Monday morning, if we can get Attorney Shepherd here.
Okay.
Yeah, he would have to actually.
Mr. Guy, you have the docket number? Yes.
Mr. Garcia, is he incarcerated or not? Is Mr. Garcia incarcerated? No, okay. So we would need him here too.
David, if you're still in the chat, what are they planning a hearing with Mr. Garcia? He's one of the
I don't know if
witnesses,
he's
one of
gonna
the
get here.
right.
the
so,
possible
he has been
people
subpoenaed
who have
for
stolen it or
As of-
bought it.
as
Is
of
it
today.
to
Is he
evaluate
under-
if
is he-
he
but, I mean, I'm sorry, is he
will
under subpoena
witness or
starting
whatever
with somebody
would they
not
need a
even
hearing
back?
So at
for?
the beginning of the trial for every day thereafter with a letter that we will call you when we know the day that we're going to call you. So, yeah.
Okay, so you.
And
can
isn't
get
it a
him here
bit
on
late?
Monday morning. I mean,
Making a hearing during proceedings.
Have to go through Attorney Shepherd. And maybe at lunch, we can address it again after lunch to see if Attorney Shepherd can be here with his client. And if it's not enough notice before the weekend, then do it.
Oh, it sounds like his attorney
Um,
is gonna be there, so
so.
maybe it's a problem that he has to plead the fifth or something.
So we're gonna do it. Yeah, we're gonna. The clerk will email him to see if he could do it. What time do we decide on Monday morning? 8:15, you're coming the
I
farthest, is
will,
that?
I will be here.
Okay. So we'll check with him now to make sure that he's able to be here Monday morning. If not, then my preference would be Tuesday if it's not too big of an inconvenience or challenge. Okay, you had one other?
I did want that we had, you had asked, and I apologize because I don't need Peter already followed on this yesterday, just getting started with the trial. But you had asked for specifically Joshua Zimmerman
Oh,
to be
that
asked.
Mr. Montgomery will have to be here.
Can I hear it and then we can repeat it?
Oh, it's the Josh Zimmerman reconsideration.
Right. Can I just, as long as we're here and we can repeat it when he comes up, or?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
You had asked Your Honor that Mr. Zimmerman be asked specifically which house that which home that Adam Montgomery had been in when he had allegedly had that rifle. If you recall, Mr. Zimmerman wasn't sure if it was an AK-47 or an AR-15. He did initially say AK-47 to police, but he also said he didn't know the difference between the two, or which term he used, and stated that he was hiding guns in walls. You had asked that he specifically be asked whether or not that was at the Guilford Street address. He was a phone call that was made.
I'm old and I'm blonde. It's not. I'm not sure I can remember that long, but I'll put it down on my notepad. And thank you very much.
I'll just read it to you. They asked him whether or not he recalled the conversation he had with Adam Montgomery with the ATF being after him. So when he recalled the conversation, stated that a significant other, Terry Hilbert, was with him. He recalled Adam stated that the ATF was after him because he used to sell guns. Zimmerman stated that his understanding was this was something Adam had done in the past when he was on the street. Zimmerman was unsure if Adam had bought or sold guns, though, belonging on 644 Union Street, where it was the time the conversation was taking.
Wait, I'm sorry, can you just say that last sentence again?
That's the location where.
No, but just read what it was.
Oh.
The Union Street.
644 Union Street.
Right, but just, can you reread that sentence?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll start from that sentence before. He recalled Adam stating that Zimmerman stated that his understanding was this was something Adam had done in the past when he was on the street. Zimmerman was unsure if Adam bought some guns on 644 Union Street.
I see.
Zimmerman stated the conversation he and Tara had with Adam happened a few months into Adam and Kayla living on Union Street. Zimmerman noted that he didn't really start talking to Adam until then, and on this day in particular, Adam quote spoke his guns, end quote. We thank you for taking the time to speak with us and end the culture. So he was asked that specific question.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'll just wait until Mr. Montgomery. I just wanted to hear what the information was. I can think about it, but we'll wait until we have Mr. Montgomery. We don't need to deal with that today, or we do.
Potentially this afternoon. I don't think this will. I think that that's something that I'm happy to restate on the record when Mr. Montgomery gets up here to let him know and obviously state what that answer was. But we do not anticipate.
This is Mr. Zimmerman.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zimmerman.
No.
I don't think we will get to him.
Okay. So
It's a
we can do that
birthday
lunch.
cake for a friend.
That's good for you. Okay. All right.
Nick has his tractor.
we
I
have
thought I should have
okay.
a
Is
cake.
Everybody ready, or do you want a quick break before we start?
No, we're gonna have
Oh,
that.
lunch. I was thinking. Yeah. Okay.
But yes, I will need to walk down the hall first.
Okay. All right. So everybody have a drink of water, take a restroom break. We'll bring them in as soon as we're all.
So it looks like we're going to be going really soon. It seems that some of the witnesses might not be willing to take the stand and tell what they know. Maybe it's because they are pretty criminal guys themselves, so they could incriminate themselves by talking. So we'll have to see. Maybe this afternoon there will be some talk about one of the witnesses, and maybe Monday morning they will have a hearing and talk about another witness. But we'll have to see. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just following along, and I'm a happy amateur. And hopefully, my friend David will come on later and explain what it's about. But we'll see. He has a busy schedule. This work thing that's ruining everything. This is Adam Montgomery, the guy accused in this case and in the murder of his young girl, Harmony. Maybe you can send me the Buck one. I know Jamie loves that one.
Attorney Agati, should we be bringing the witness up right now?
I believe we should probably, before the jury gets.
Oh, okay. So we need Mr. LaBelle. Do you want to just have him on the stand? Start him on the stand?
That might be, because I know he's going to be, it's my understanding he's going to be wearing the leg brace,
Okay,
but I think that would probably be
But
taking the stance, he's not walking.
that's fine, but it's not a secret that he's incarcerated.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so when it comes time for him to get off the stand, we can just send him off the stand.
I think
And
that
thank you to the Sheriff's Department for
they
getting
believe
him here
he
on time
beat
this
her to
morning.
death or shook her to death. I think it was not an accident. He's
bring him now?
charged with second-degree murder, so that's why I thought it could be interesting to see the characters reappearing in that case, in this case, because it's a heinous crime if it's correct. I'm not sure that they ever found her body, but his ex-wife might be the one who told the police that he did it. So, and I believe she's going to be a witness in this case too, and she's also a drug addict and also a criminal. So that's why the defense will probably do everything they can to destroy her credibility in this case. So when she comes back in the next case, they can say, "Well, you're not truthful. We can't believe anything you say," and the murder of this little Harmony girl, it seems like it was really bad, but we'll have to see. It's on the docket for August. Harmony was 4 years old. She was given, her father was given custody of her, and 9 months later she went missing, and it took 2 years before the authorities became aware that she was missing. So that's a pretty bad case. If you look into it, they say that the family wasn't told that the police were looking for her, and she was last seen alive in New Hampshire in 2019. And the authorities allege she was killed by her father, and he has pled not guilty to her murder, and her body has never been found. But a renewed investigation lead came because her uncle told that something new came up. So we'll have to see what's happening when they go to court. Everyone has tattoos in this case, so they are nice people. Come on, move along.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
2 seconds, I have to take a phone. I'm sorry about that, stupid phone. Oh, the rattling of chains. So it's not the face tattoo guy from yesterday.
All right, good morning, sir.
He was out of
And
prison
then I'm
living
gonna
with his
bring in the
grandma.
jury. We're all just going to stand for the jurors when they arrive. Is everyone ready? All right, please rise for the jurors. Do you want him to stay seated or that's fine?
People be seated if you want.
Why don't you just be seated? Sir?
Are you excited?
Rise for the jury.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Is the state ready to proceed with its next witness?
Yes, sir. In the previous conversation before, we were asking if the witness would be allowed to remain seated while taking the oath.
Yes, you may remain seated while taking the oath. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. LaBelle. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that the testimony you will give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Since we're being you're on the record today, please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Kevin LaBelle, Labelle.
And is all of your last name capital L, small b, or is it a capital B?
It's a capital B.
Capital B. Want to make sure that we get it right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. LaBelle. Mr. LaBelle, currently, are you currently serving a parole setback sentence at the New Hampshire State Prison for Men?
Yes.
And have you been convicted of several felonies over the years?
Yes.
Let me ask you, how long have you been a resident of Manchester before you were at the New Hampshire State Prison?
All my life.
All my life. And how old are you now, sir?
31.
Let me ask, in 2019, October of 2019, back then, where were you living?
My mom's house, 227 Patterson Street.
Of course,
I'm
you
sorry,
lived
you
at
said
his mom's
227?
house.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. By the way, if you can't hear me at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to speak up, because if you can't hear me, then I know the jurors can't hear me.
Hi, Mo. Welcome to my channel. Nice to see you.
How do you know Adam Montgomery? How did you first meet him?
I was riding my bike and I met him. He was asking me about the tattoo on the back of my leg.
And when was that in 2019? What time of year?
Sustained.
What time of year did you first
I don't
meet
know
him?
why
I
they
just can't
won't,
recall right now.
show the
So long ago.
witness. Maybe it's
Do you remember-
because he's
you said you were
incarcerated.
riding your
I
bike,
don't know.
Yeah.
I
So I
couldn't
want to say it
remember.
was, maybe fall time.
Maybe fall
But,
time. Okay.
I like that they bonded over.
Do you know where he was living in Manchester at that time?
Guilford Street.
Do you remember the number of Guilford Street?
I don't remember the number, no.
And did you spend any time with each other? Hanging out, things like
Yeah.
that? When you were spending time with each other, did you use any drugs with each other?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you use?
Crack cocaine.
And what did you see him use during that time?
Crack cocaine, heroin.
In October of 2019, what, if anything, did Adam Montgomery offer to sell you?
What if any?
Shotgun and AR-15.
A shotgun and an AR-15?
Yep.
Okay. Did you see the shotgun and the AR-15?
Yes.
Describe for me, what did the shotgun look like?
It was a black shotgun, had a scope on it, had a pack so you could hold more shells up by the receiver. It was a Mossberg, I think it was a Model 500A.
500A, and you said it was black as well?
Yeah.
So black 500A, Mossberg, you said with a scope, is that right?
Yep, single pump.
And when you said so we could hold extra shells near the receiver, what part of the gun are we talking
He's
about?
not
If you could
really
explain
a
that for the
snitch.
jury, 'cause some
He was a
members of the
friend
jury
who
may
was
not know
around
where the
that,
receiver is.
he tried to sell the
Up
guns to
above.
people. I don't
So
know
it's
why
like
they wouldn't
where the
show
shells
him.
would come out.
Maybe they're just thinking Adam Montgomery is such a nice guy. Nice guy.
When he showed that shotgun to you, did it have any rounds in that area?
Yes, had 5 in that area.
5. And what about the AR-15? Did he show you that weapon as well?
I didn't really see the AR-15. I just got to look at it, but I know it was there.
So where did he show these to you? Where were you?
In the living room of the Guilford Street address.
And how much did he offer to sell the AR-15 for?
I can't recall the price of the AR-15. I know I bought the shotgun for $250.
You can't recall the price for the AR-15. You bought the shotgun.
Yeah.
So you purchased that from him.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did that transaction take place? In that same
Same place.
Guilford Street?
Yeah.
And did he, who else was there when he showed you these guns and offered you these guns?
Kayla was there.
And do you know?
She was in the kitchen.
She was in the kitchen. And when we say Kayla, who is Kayla?
Kayla Montgomery, his wife.
What room were you in when he showed you these guns and you bought the shotgun?
The living room.
The living room? Did you see where he got the guns in the house before he showed them to you?
He went upstairs, so I'm assuming the bedroom.
So he went upstairs. Did he tell you how he got them?
No.
When he, did he tell you whether they were stolen?
No, he said they were hot, which, I mean, obviously I assumed they were stolen.
Okay. So when he said hot, is that what made you have that assumption?
Yes.
Okay. Had you heard that term before, that somebody says
He's
something's hot?
charged
and
with
Yeah.
2 counts of handling firearms, obtaining firearms, and dispose of firearms. And he's a felon, so he can't do it.
when he showed them to you,
Allegedly, he stole
how were
a
they
drug
stored?
friend's
Were they
husband's
in a
guns
case?
and sold
Were they
it to his
wrapped in
drug
something?
friend.
Did he have nothing on him? He just
And
brought
again,
the guns down.
It's not so much
by
this
hand?
case, it's
Pretty sure they were
murder
wrapped
case
up in
with
a
his
blanket.
order in 2 months that I'm very
Do you recall what the
interested in,
blanket looked
but,
like?
I don't recall.
It'd be interesting to
And
see
were
how
they
they handle
wrapped
the
up
witnesses
together or
because it's
individually?
drugs, more drugs,
I
and a
honestly
little
can't
bit
recall. It was
of
a while
drugs.
ago.
And did you see both guns or just the shotgun before you bought it?
They
I saw both
leave
guns
about a
that day.
week,
Yeah.
but
Now, at that
everything
time,
can change.
in October of 2019, had you already been convicted of a felony?
Yes.
So it was illegal for you to have a gun at that time, correct?
Yes.
Other than you said Kayla was there when the defendant sold you the shotgun and showed you the other gun, was there anybody else in the home?
I think the kids were there too.
Did you see any other adults in the home?
No.
Initially, when you spoke, well, you did speak to police about this, about the defendant offering you guns and then selling you the shotgun, correct?
What's up?
You did meet with police before, is that right? And talked about what you're talking about today.
Yeah.
And when you initially met with them, did you tell them that you had purchased the shotgun?
I can't recall. I'm honestly not sure. I think I may have. I've met with them so many times. It's hard to honestly keep track of it. But I know I told them eventually that I purchased a shotgun from him.
And in terms of talking to them about Adam Montgomery showing you these 2 guns and offering these 2 guns for sale, did you say that each of the times that you met with them?
I think so. Yeah.
When you told the police that Adam Montgomery had sold you that shotgun and showed you those 2 guns, at that time, did you have a lawyer present with you?
What do you say that again?
Was there a lawyer that was in the meeting with you when you met with police and you told them about Adam Montgomery showing you these 2 guns and then selling you the shotgun?
No.
And when you spoke with them, did you give them permission to look at any of your social media accounts?
Yes.
Okay. What did you give them permission to look at?
My Facebook.
In your Facebook account, what was the name that you had for your account?
Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
O'Leary? At the time that you met with police and you told them this information,
did you have any sort of a deal worked out for any of your criminal charges?
No.
And it's my understanding that recently you may have reached a plea deal on a different matter, a different felony matter that you're charged with, correct?
Yes.
And that particular matter does not involve the Attorney General's office, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Just leading.
Sustained.
What prosecuting agency is doing that, is bringing that charge against you?
What do you mean?
Which prosecuting agency is bringing that charge against you? So which office? Is it a county attorney's office, a police department, a attorney general's office?
Oh, it's not the attorney general's. It's whoever. You know what I mean, I broke the law. So whoever handles that, I'm not sure.
And with regards to that, the prosecutor, well, you said already it's not the attorney general's office.
Yeah.
When or before you came to testify today, were you made aware that an immunity order has been issued for your testimony here today?
Yes.
And that order states, have you seen that order? Have you read that order before?
I believe I've read the order. Yes.
Okay. And with regards to that order, what's your understanding of that order? What does that protect you from?
Being charged with anything I've admitted to today.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's why he remembers everything.
Yes, you may.
Well, I want to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 41, identification only. I just want to have you take a look over that for a minute. And take your time and look up whenever you're done.
The exact charges is that he's accused of stealing a rifle and a shotgun, receiving stolen property for retaining the weapons, and being a felon in possession of weapons because he was a felon before he stole the weapon, and being an armed career criminal convicted of 3 or more felonies. So he was a nice guy who just got into some bad stuff. Oh, and totally, it's believed to take about a week, but we'll have to see how
With regards to
many hiccups there are along the way. In the opening today, it seems like there's one witness who maybe didn't want to take the stand, so they could cut it down.
The protections that you're getting. What is actually is the protection that you have?
I just have protection from immunity, so whatever I say can't be used against me. So admitting that I bought the shotgun or anything like that, from what my understanding is of it, that's why I'm here
And
today.
that's for your testimony today. This immunity order protects you from your testimony today. That's your understanding. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about your previous. Thank you. Your Honor, the question is going to be withdrawn. We restate that.
Okay.
Mr. Lavelle, does it say anything about the previous statements to police? If you want to take a look.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
It's all right. It's multiple paragraphs.
Concussion, so
That's all right.
So what part would I?
I'm just going to direct your attention to the second paragraph with regards to the order. And the question I'm going to ask you afterwards is whether or not the immunity order says anything about your statements to police.
So he doesn't even know what his own plea deal involves.
That's all right. Take your time. Take your time.
We better hope that he understood it before he took the stand, because admitting to owning the guns and seeing the guns, that could be a problem if he's a felon too. You're welcome.
So I'm going to grab the order back from you. Does that say anything about the statements to police before?
No.
And Mr. LaBelle, while we were talking a moment ago, I think I may have overheard you say correctly that you're dealing with a concussion right now. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I am.
Okay. Does that at all affect your memory of your interactions with Adam Montgomery and him showing you these two guns or selling
No, I can clearly remember that I bought the guns off him and everything. I have a concussion, so trying to do everything right now is a little confusing, but yeah.
Understandable. Understandable. Thank you for explaining that to me.
You're welcome.
At any time, did you ever fire that shotgun?
Yes.
Okay. And when was that?
I can't remember the date, but I know I was with him. I was at this place behind Rock Rimmon. It's a bunch of sand dunes. I don't know the exact place for it, where it's called. We fired a single round out of it there.
Okay. And you said you were with him. Is him Adam Montgomery?
Yes.
A few months later, what did you do with that shotgun after you had purchased it and owned it for a while? What did you do with it?
I wound up selling it back to him for a gram and a half of crack cocaine.
Sold it back to him for a gram. Did you say gram and a half?
Yeah.
And
We
later
have
on,
cheap
did you
guns
see
in the
him
US.
holding that shotgun after you had sold it back to him at any time?
I believe he got rid of it to someone else.
Did you ever see him carrying it around or
No,
anything like that?
we didn't hang out much after that.
You stated before that when you bought the shotgun, there were no other adults in the house. That's right? None that you could see. Excuse me. Is
None
that
that I
right?
can see, but I'm pretty sure Kayla was in the kitchen of the house.
Right. You did mention Kayla. I apologize. I want to make sure I got your words and your testimony correct. There was Kayla in the house, you said. With regards to the two guns, when they were shown to you and when you purchased the shotgun, you said, I believe, $200 or $250.
Yes.
Is that cash?
Yes.
Who did you hand that cash to?
Him, Adam Montgomery.
Is Adam Montgomery seated in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Could you please point out where he's seated and then the color of the shirt he's wearing?
Blue.
Your Honor, if the record could please reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
The record shall so reflect.
Just a moment, please.
Well, that was pretty easy and just very clear. So it's going to be interesting to see how the defense is going to attack this witness, probably with the plea deal, even though it's clear in the deal that his previous testimony to the police is not covered by it. So he could be in trouble for those, but she will try to do anything to make him seem less credible.
What were you doing for work at that time?
Landscaping.
And how long, or do you remember what company you were working for?
I don't remember the company now.
And how long did you work for them?
I'm not sure. Off and on. I think I was working for Lock Linden Landscaping at the time. I think I worked for them for like 4 or 5 months.
But you were working at the time that you bought the shot.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions for you. I believe defense counsel.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Mr. LaBelle, I'm gonna take a second to move the podium over to my stuff there, and so you can take a deep breath if you want.
Doesn't seem happy today.
So my name's Caroline Smith, and I have a few questions for you as well. you talked about some things that you couldn't really remember.
Yeah.
So do you remember what year this event was that you're talking about with the guns?
2019,
And how do you remember that?
because that's the year it happened.
Okay. Do you remember what time of year?
Can't remember the time of the year. I know for certain that I had received and bought the gun off him and then sold it back to him. That I can remember.
Do you remember what time of year?
Like I said, I can remember buying the gun off him and I can remember selling it back to him.
Okay. Do you remember the time of year?
Yeah, you've asked that 3 times now. I said I remember buying the gun off him and selling it back to him. It's confusing about it.
Okay. So I have asked 3 times and you still haven't answered. Do you remember the time of year?
I believe it was September-ish, maybe.
Okay. Do you remember the time of day?
No,
Do you know if it was morning, noon, night?
no, it was 4 years ago.
Okay. So do you remember if it was dark out?
No,
Do you remember if it was in the morning?
no.
Sustained.
Do you go to Mr.
She's a crack
Montgomery's
addict,
house back during that time period? in the
incarcerated
morning?
right now. So
Usually in the afternoon.
he's probably
Okay.
not the
And so,
best witness. And
do you go there at night?
if he maybe made
Sure.
a good deal
Okay.
by fingering this,
And on this particular occasion,
accused
you
guy,
don't know if it was
well,
afternoon or night?
maybe you could get a bit.
No, I was over there multiple times. So, I hang out with them multiple times every day almost. So it's hard to say what day it was that these guns are rotten.
Okay. And I think that you said that you talked to the police multiple times and you told them you purchased the gun from Adam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when you talked to the police at the halfway house, you said that you had gone to Adams and saw them, but that you didn't purchase them. Do you recall that?
Maybe, possibly.
Okay.
I know eventually I told him I bought the guns off him.
Okay. So you have a vague recollection of originally denying that you bought any guns off of Adam, but you said that you had seen them, right?
I know I bought them off him. I had the shotgun in my house, so I know I bought the shotgun off him for $250.
Okay. So I'll slow down my question a bit. My question was, you have a vague recollection of talking to the police saying that you saw the guns but not bought them, right?
This is the multilingual chat. We don't judge.
I think at
people
first I
on,
didn't tell them. I think it was my
bad
second
grammar,
meeting with them. I
bad
told them about
English.
the guns.
Okay.
You should
so
have
the
been here
first
yesterday
meeting,
where
you
they
didn't
read their
talk
text
about
messages.
guns, right?
That was quite
And
an
that meeting
education
was
in
at
street
the
English.
halfway house?
Bro and
First
dog
meeting,
was
I believe
used
so.
profusely.
Okay. And the halfway house means that you've gone through your sentence at prison, and this is a step to try and get out of prison and back into the community, right?
Correct.
And so let's talk about your convictions.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
In March of 2013, you had a Class A felony conviction for receiving stolen property, right?
Yeah.
And in February of 2015, you had a failure to register as a sex offender.
Correct.
Which means that there were convictions earlier that required you to have to register in 2015, and you didn't.
Right.
And you went to prison for that, right?
Yeah.
And in 2019, you got a habitual offender charge conviction,
Yeah.
and they
So-
actually suspended that sentence and gave you probation, right?
I don't know. I've been arrested many times, so it's hard to keep track of what's what.
Sure. Okay. If I showed you a copy of the conviction, you think that might help you?
I don't know.
Well, let's just say there's been a lot of charges of perjury in this case with a few of the witnesses. So stick around, and you'll probably hear someone accused of perjury before the grand jury. But the defense is doing a great job unraveling his very clear memory of
Okay, I'm going to
buying
show
the
you a
guns.
stapled package of material.
And that's what she
and
has to
give you
do.
a chance to look it over, okay?
But she started out hot yesterday, and then she just went the Elaine Braderhoff way and just rambled along. So I would try and wrap it up now. The jury would think this guy is maybe not as trustworthy as the prosecutor would make you think.
Okay.
So, after reviewing that, does it refresh your recollection that you received a conviction for habitual offender with a 2.5 to 5 suspended and 2 years probation on March 18, 2019?
Yeah, I believe so. That's what I went to prison for, yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, you got a suspended sentence at that time, right?
I mean, I'm not sure. Like I said, I have a concussion, so I mean, words are kind of jumpy on the paper right now. Like I said, so I mean, I can't really read.
That's
so
my excuse
I'm
too.
just trying
When
to
I
answer your
speak
questions as truthfully as I can.
unproper
What I can
English,
remember,
it's because
Because I
I
bought
have
the
a
guns
head
off
injury.
him.
So
Pretty much
just
what
bear
it
over
boils
with
down
me.
to.
Not because I'm kind of dyslexic and not so smart.
Testify. Can you read and understand what's in front of you?
Oh, I can understand what's going on. I can understand what's going on in the past.
Casey's whipped.
Okay. So on March 18, 2019, you got a conviction for a habitual offender. You got a suspended prison sentence with 2 years probation, right?
Sure.
I bet he wears a helmet and rides the short bus.
Whatever it says in the paper is correct, yeah.
I kind of need the answer from you, so if you want to.
So, all right, let me look through it. Then, yeah, we'll do it this way. Do you want to be a stickler? Fuck. So, what charge are you referring to?
The habitual offender.
Is that,
charge?
and what page would that be on in here? If you could show me.
Sure. So this first page says that you are guilty of a felony, right?
Yeah, it says date of offense May 8th right there too. So
Sure.
they're saying March, so obviously that's not what happened.
The date of the conviction is February 17, 2015. Is that when the judge signed off on it?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And the charge that was attached, oops. Did I give you the wrong one? Huh. Sorry?
Looks like you
Thank
did.
She got the wrong papers. I'm just sorry. I getting Elaine Braderhoff vibes off this defense lawyer. Yesterday, she couldn't keep track of her own story, and she couldn't remember what she was asking, and she started asking a question and went away from it again. I was just about starting a poll if she was going to object to her own questions as well, because
correct. I'm
she
way off
seems
there.
very,
So,
very
That I
confused.
just handed you the failure to register as a sex offender charge,
Yep.
right?
Complete wrong form.
So the March 18 charge, let's try that again. And do you think that if I walk you through some of the paperwork here, it might help you get through it?
Possibly.
Okay, I'm going to show you.
Just going to check with you guys. Just be a question. When they didn't want that hard to talk through to see if the memories were fresh. If that's what we're doing, if we're going to impeachment, that's a different story, but we haven't established
All right.
a foundation.
You may proceed. The objection is overruled.
Thank you.
So, this one. Go ahead. So I'll get it right this time. I'm gonna show you a package of material, and it sounds like maybe if I walk you through the right pages, we can probably get through it faster.
If it's the right form, yeah.
Okay. So on March 18, there was a conviction as a certified habitual offender. Is
Yeah.
that right?
That's right. It's the right
And
form.
that was guilty, and it was a felony.
Mm-hmm.
And the sentencing sheet shows 2.5 to 5,
Yeah.
and that was suspended for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And you also got 2 years of probation starting right away, right?
Yeah.
And so you started on probation on March 18, the day of the sentencing, right?
When I
I
get
believe
bored,
so,
I'll
yeah.
start
And
dancing.
you never reported to probation, right?
No, I was in prison.
In March of 2019?
Oh no. Whatever. Never mind. No.
Okay. So in July, so anyway, one of the terms of probation is not to have guns, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't actually report to probation, right?
I don't believe I had probation. I'm pretty sure it was parole. It was after the prison sentence.
Okay. So let's go back to this document that I showed you. I'm going to show you the sentencing sheet.
I'm not a
and
brain
see if I have a
scientist,
question
but
for
if you get
recollection,
out
whether it was probation or not.
with an easy conviction, why couldn't you just get
Pretty sure it was parole.
contact with the parole
Okay.
officer so you
And
didn't have to
so
go back
under
in?
this,
But
here's
again,
that
I'm not a
sentencing sheet we
brain
were looking at,
scientist,
right?
so
Mm-hmm.
And at the
maybe I
top
should do more
of that
crack so I can
sentencing
understand these
sheet,
people.
page 2, it says probation for a period of 2 years forthwith, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you got a probation violation on that charge, right?
On what charge?
The habitual offender that you got a suspended sentence for.
Yes.
Pretty
And
ironic to get
that
a
probation
new
violation.
sentence on a habitual offender.
You went back
sentence.
to prison when you were picked up on that.
Seems
charge,
like they got it right the first time they charged him.
On the habitual offender?
Uh-huh.
I honestly can't recall.
Okay.
It's so long ago.
Okay. Well, anyway, in March of 2019, on to
like a crow or
throughout
something.
2019,
That could
you
be an
had not
explanation.
reported to probation, right?
I'm not sure. It's 5 years ago.
Okay. In July of 2020, you went back to prison in part for the probation violation on the habitual offender, right?
I don't know. Can you show me where it says that? If it went back in July.
I know she wants to make him untrustworthy, but is it really necessary? Didn't we get the idea when he couldn't remember anything but that he paid this amount of money at this house at some time in 2019? That's my gripe with all these American cases. They have to beat a dead horse to death, resurrect it, and then beat it to death.
Start with the probation
Contact the guy who
violation.
resurrected Tupac and then beat it to death again. It's like watching the NFL trial. We know the detective was
Again,
bad,
maybe
but
walk you through
he's been
these
at her for 2
documents.
days.
That was from
it
July
just gets
10 of
confusing in the end.
2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's for a violation of probation or parole, right?
Yeah.
And the number on that and for that you got the 2.5 to 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So you were back in prison on July 10, 2020, right?
Yeah.
And that was for a failure to appear after the 3/18/19 sentencing. that you failed to report to probation afterwards?
I believe so.
Okay. And so during the summer into the fall, if police found you, they would have arrested you on the violation of probation, right?
Assumingly.
Okay.
You just have to wait till the Sarah Boone case. It's gonna make everyone on YouTube millionaires. So
Then there
hang in there, buddy.
was
Then you'll get out all
on
those
that
stupid work hours.
duty to report,
Yes, she's just
where you
running
had
through
gone
that.
to
He's a
prison
stupid guy
for
who
a
doesn't
period of time back in
get in
2015.
contact with his parole officers and
They
then
actually
gets put back
imposed
in
more
prison.
time for that because of that
She started out good, but
probation
I think
violation,
she's
right?
just beating the dead horse over and over again.
I can't recall, honestly.
He's a criminal. He's a habitual offender, and he didn't seem that trustworthy when she started the defense statement that he couldn't remember anything but I bought
started
the guns
again,
for
sorry.
this amount of money.
That duty to
at this year.
report,
She would have stopped there, and he would just have seen just as untrustworthy as now. And she started by showing him the wrong record. She's Elaine Braderhoff 2.0.
on January 7 of 2021, you got a violation of probation or parole on the, and were sentenced to 2 to 5 years in New Hampshire State Prison. Is that right?
At this point, I'd just like to see the form because you showed me the wrong form twice so far.
I have to ask the question before I approach you to show you. So, on January 7, 2021,
Yeah,
violation of probation or
I
parole.
think
yeah.
the person who looks
The
forward to that
sentencing
case the
sheet
most is
says 2 to
Sarah
5
Boone
years.
because
Mhm.
she wants to get out of that
Okay, so
racketeering all the YouTubers have going so she can make dollars. It could deliver some entertainment if she wants to go at it herself, but 6 lawyers so
That
far.
sentence
It's gonna
is
be
the sentence, that
entertainment.
2 to 5 years that you were serving when you were spoken to the police at the halfway house, right?
Yes.
And that is when you spoke to the police at the halfway house, but didn't tell them that you had purchased a gun, right?
Correct.
Because telling them that you had purchased a gun would have been a new crime, right?
Potentially.
You were a felon at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say yes or no.
Yes.
And as a felon, you're not allowed to have a gun.
No, you're not. It's correct.
And- pardon?
That's correct. You're not allowed to have a gun being a felon.
So purchasing a gun is a new crime, right?
Yes. They also didn't ask if I bought a gun.
And we'll know for Florida, if you
Okay.
don't ask, you don't have
So,
to tell that
I
you're married
admitted that to
or
them
buying
later
a
on.
gun.
My second question. I told them my second or third meeting that I purchased a gun.
Okay. So when you are talking to them in March of 2022, they've come to you at the halfway house
Yeah.
and they tell you they want to talk about Adam.
Yeah.
And they tell you they want to talk about some guns.
Yeah.
And by the way, Kayla was a friend of yours, right?
I'd say acquaintance.
Okay. She's somebody that you had reached out to after you had talked to the police about that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And when the police came to talk to you about Adam, you at the halfway house had the ability to go into the community a bit, right?
Yeah.
You could work, right?
Yeah.
And so you had access to a TV at the halfway house?
Yes.
Oh, sidebar. Well, now she's hitting all the marks that she's telling the story to get something from the police. She should just have done it from the beginning when he couldn't remember anything. All this, yeah, he's a criminal. We know he's in leg irons. There's a reason he was put on the stand before the jury came in, and we can't see his face, but I'm pretty sure you can see he has hit the meth wall just as hard as the meth fairy we started out with yesterday. So I think sometimes lawyers want to put as much in the heads of the jury to make a determination, but it just becomes too much. And like I tell the ladies, less is more.
The objection is overruled.
So you were aware that Adam was arrested back when the police came to talk to you in March 2nd, 2022, right?
I believe so.
And I've said March 2nd in 2022. Do you know that that was the date?
I don't know when the date was.
Do you think if I showed you a report of your conversation with the police that it might refresh your recollection?
It might. I don't know the actual date he was arrested. I don't know the actual date the cops came to talk to me in the halfway house. I just know they came to talk to me.
Okay. I'm going to show you a copy of the report. Now, maybe to pinpoint some things for you, you were living at the halfway house called Calumet House,
Yeah, I was.
and that's at 126 Lowell Street in Manchester. Or anyway, it was the Calumet House as it reflects on that report, right?
Yeah.
And looking at the date of that report, does that help refresh your recollection about March 2nd, 2022?
I don't know if he was arrested March 2nd, but I guess that's when they came to meet with me.
That's when they came to meet with you, was March 2nd, 2022.
No.
Okay. But you, at the time that they met with you, with him, they met with you, knew that Adam had been arrested at that point, right?
Yeah.
And you knew that Kayla had been arrested at that point, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. And when they talked to you about guns, right?
Yeah.
They actually told you that they had some information that was pointing to you, right?
Not that I'm aware of. They had questions for me. I don't know if they had information that was pointing towards me.
Okay, well, the questions were about Adam and some guns, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't particularly want to talk to them that day, right?
No.
And one of the ways that they got you to talk to them was to let you know that you might.
Characterization.
Approach.
I think she's doing a pretty good job, but again, it's taking her so long to get to her points, and I understand she has to drive it home, but this guy, he's not remembering if it was May 2nd, May 3rd, the 1st of April. Just get to the point. He's not that trustworthy.
Overruled.
And one of the ways that they got you to talk to them was to say they had information that could get you in trouble, right?
I didn't say they had information that get me in trouble. They had questions for me.
Okay. But you didn't want to talk to them at first, right?
No, I talked to them.
Okay. You said before we went up to the judge at the bench that you didn't really want to talk to them when they came, right?
I didn't really want to talk. No, I don't want to talk to cops in general, but I did. I gave them my permission to go through my Facebook. They had questions more about the missing girl, not more of the guns.
Okay. So when they talked to you, they said that they were more interested in Adam and the gun and not so interested in you, right?
I can't recall.
That they were interested in getting you in trouble for the guns. They wanted information from you, right?
I can't recall. I guess that's a long time ago. I know they had questions for me. I answered them as truthfully as I could.
Okay. So, but one of the things that you knew was if you told them that you had a gun, that they could arrest you, right?
Yes, possibly.
And you're in the halfway house on your way back into the community, and you don't want to be facing another charge, right?
Correct.
So you talk to the police reluctantly, but am I fair to say reluctantly?
Don't use the big words.
What do you mean by reluctantly?
I told you so.
You didn't really want to do it, but you sort of, with the,
No, I willingly talked to them. I could have said, I plead my Fifth Amendment and I'm not talking to you at all, but I did talk to them.
oh, the Fifth Amendment, and that's what you're doing here today, right? You had asserted your Fifth Amendment right today? Is that right?
I have immunity for my testimony today. That's why I'm here.
Right. And the immunity for your testimony is because you
I
asserted
think she
your
made
Fifth
her
Amendment
point
privilege,
in the
right?
first minute, and now she's just trying to
Am I
prove
correct?
her point over and
Maybe.
over and over and again. And
So you
I'm bored. I'm
knew
about
that
to do the chair
being
dance
here
again,
and
and
admitting to purchasing a
I'm not
gun could
think
get
she's getting
you
less and less
criminal
believable.
charges.
She had me in the start.
Potentially.
And so before you testified, you needed the promise from the prosecutors that they would not charge you based on the testimony here today, right?
I don't understand the question.
Do you remember when you were talking about the court order with the prosecutor? And he showed you that piece of paper and had you
Yeah.
read? And that court order you read said that you
Adam is doing the
will
chair
not
dance
be
too.
prosecuted for information that you give here in court today, right?
Correct.
However, it did not say that you couldn't be prosecuted for statements that you gave before today, right?
I'd have to see the paper again.
Sure. I'm going to show you what's been marked as 41 for ID. Yeah. And I think the prosecutor specifically asked if you knew that it did not protect you from statements that you made before today, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So when you told the police eventually, on one of the other interviews, you did tell the police that you purchased a gun, right?
Yeah.
And that statement can be used to charge you with a criminal offense, right?
Yeah.
And you don't expect to get charged for being a felon in possession of a gun, though, do you?
No.
You felt pretty comfortable that they weren't going to charge you, even though you didn't have immunity for those statements, right?
I don't know how to answer the question. My understanding is that as long as my testimony is truthful and honest, is that, you know what I mean? I'm okay
Okay.
for buying the gun. I understand that, I can't be charged for admitting that I bought the gun.
Okay. Why do you understand that to be true?
Because that's what it says in the paper. What do you mean?
So we just clarified that the paper said your testimony here in court and does not apply to the statements you made to police before court, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't expect the police to charge you for those statements.
I don't know. I guess they can. If I'm not protected
What
by
does
it.
it
So
matter?
who knows?
But you don't expect it, right?
I don't expect it, but it could happen.
Okay.
The guy signed
And,
a piece of paper he didn't understand, so
It hasn't.
he's not a
happened
Mensa student.
to date, right?
No.
But you have gotten another charge that you're back in prison for, right?
Yes.
And I think that, did I hear on direct that you've resolved that for a lesser offense?
Yes.
Yeah, so
And
she should
that
just stop asking him.
That's just
She
recent,
probably forgot he
right?
got a law degree too.
Yeah, it's running with my prison setback.
Okay. Pardon?
It's running with my prison setback.
So you got a prison setback after you left Calumet House, and when you were talking to the police, you got out into the community, and you ended up getting another in trouble again and going back to prison, right?
Yeah.
And that's called the parole setback, right?
Yes.
But you've already also reached an agreement on another charge that you testified about, that you say will run at the same time as your prison setback.
From my understanding.
So it's your understanding you won't do any additional time for that new charge.
That's a misdemeanor.
Okay. Didn't start as a misdemeanor, though, did it?
No.
Started as a felony, right?
Yep.
Again, we get the point, Elaine, but
Now,
what does it matter?
we talked about the conversation at Calumet House. The next time that the police talk, and that's when
As
you
we say in
didn't tell
Danish,
them you had
not
purchased the gun.
ikke den
The
hurtigste
next
knallert på
time you
havnen,
talked to
not the fastest
police,
moped on the seaside.
was on April 28, 2023. Is that right?
I don't know the dates.
Okay,
I'm not a time
so
keeper.
there is sort of a process that we go through for me to approach on that. And I'm going to approach, would looking at the report help refresh your recollection, do you think?
Yeah, if it's the right one.
I like it. It takes these small
I'm going
digs
to
at her.
show you a copy of a document, and you see your name on that document,
Yep,
and you see a date on that document.
I do.
And on April 28, 2023, you were back in the New Hampshire State Prison for Men, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that was over a month ago, right?
Yeah.
And a little over a month ago, you told them you didn't want to be recorded, right?
All right.
And the first one wasn't recorded either, right?
All right.
And you're not in a good situation being back in prison, right?
Sure.
And you do want to help police out, right?
Yep.
And so you actually tell them something that will get you in more trouble, right?
Potentially.
Because you think it'll help the police with what they are looking for, right?
Sure.
And they actually gave you some of the information about the investigation that made them think that you were holding back before.
What do you mean by holding back before?
When you hadn't said that you purchased a gun
I
and,
told them before that meeting I had.
oh, when?
Before 428.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure they've met with me 4 or 5 times. So it's hard to keep track of which date, but on one of them, I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. So, in any event, talking to the police about a gun that you possessed while you were a felon and while you were on probation, during all that time, nobody brought charges on you, right?
No.
And you didn't expect anyone to bring any charges on you, right?
No.
Because you were giving the police what they wanted.
No.
You were pointing the finger at Adam, right?
Suppose.
Okay. Okay. And
Why didn't they object to that? He doesn't know what the police want, and he's not giving them what you want. He's telling the truth.
so when you say that you purchased the gun from Adam, you definitely bought a gun while at Adam's house, right?
From him, exactly, yes.
Okay. You were at Adam's house.
Yeah.
The gun was there, right?
Yeah.
And Adam's house was a place that you hung out sometimes,
Yeah.
and other people hung out sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Hey, David.
Mike Sullivan was there sometimes.
I can't recall. I know we hung out at Mike
This is
Sullivan's
still
house.
that potential witness outside the
Can't
door.
honestly say if Mike Sullivan was there or not.
This is
And some of
the
the
guy
people
who
that
maybe bought a gun
you
from
also
him,
hung out with.
Okay.
but
Did
he
you
made a
hang out
plea
with
deal,
Kim Fram?
and she is just
No.
rehashing
Okay,
over and
Ishmael
over
Garcia?
again that he
No.
probably
Didn't
made
know
a deal
him?
to get out of his
I
charge.
don't even know who these people are.
Pardon?
I don't even
He's
know who
been
these
at it
people
for
are.
well
When I hung
over
out
an
at
hour
Adam's
now.
house, I hung out with him and Kayla.
Okay. But other people came over there, right?
Yeah, but I don't know their names. I don't know who
Okay.
they are.
Okay.
Maybe,
So-
you know what I mean? Most of the time I hung out, it was just me and him.
Okay. But there were times that you were there that other people were there, right?
Sustained.
So we've established then that other people are there when you have hung out and you don't know what their names are, but they were kind of hanging out doing the same thing that you were, right?
Sure.
And you don't remember a whole lot from that time period, right?
No.
Oh, he has a concussion, so he can't read.
But when you started testifying, you were absolutely clear and gave. I was there at Adam's house, and there was an AR-15 that I didn't really look at, and a shotgun that I really did look at, right?
I looked at both of them.
Okay. And you were very, very clear on that, right?
Yeah.
This is the
That
guy who
was
bought the gun.
years ago, right?
Yeah, the one
That's something I
who
wanted. I
took
bought
away
it.
from
That's
the
how I
police
know.
guy,
It held it in my possession.
He bought it
Okay.
for
And
$250.
but there's a
The
lot from
Mossberg.
that time period that you don't remember, right?
We got a pretty good deal. He wanted 600 yesterday.
One of the reasons that you don't remember, well, no.
But-
in
She could have wrapped it up in 20 minutes. Again, it's what I hate about you American lawyers. You like to talk so much.
Well, you know, the devil's in the details, right?
Yeah, but the details is that he made a plea deal, and that plea deal indicates that he's not that trustworthy.
I didn't hear what the whole issue was and why they're doing this outside the presence of the jury. Was that
No, the
made
jury is
clear?
present, but he was
Oh.
brought in because he had some nice jewelry on provided by the state, so they put him in the stand and relieved him of his cuffs. So that's why he was he was brought
one
in
of the
before the jury.
things that you said,
But he made a plea deal, and he thought he had immunity, and
in
it was only
April
for the
to
testimony today.
police
So he could
was that you
be brought up
sold the
for
gun back
previous testimony.
to Adam after a couple of months.
Idiots.
Right?
Yeah.
How long
We have to do some more
was it
facts
that
so we
you
can
had the
understand these
gun
people.
before you say you sold it back to Adam?
A couple months.
Maybe 2, maybe 3. What does that
Yeah,
mean?
I can't be certain. Couple months.
Pardon?
I can't be certain. Couple months.
And October 3rd, November 3rd. So like around early November, early December?
I'm not sure. I can't be certain when I sold it back. I know I sold it back to him for $1.5 grams of crack.
Okay. And that may have been, you say, a couple of months later, right?
Yeah.
And a couple of months later would have been early December, right?
I'm not sure.
And again,
Couple
what
of
does
months
this
from
matter? I
early
know she
October
wants
would be early
to
December,
make him
is that
seem
right?
very, what's the
Sustained.
word? Not credible, not incredible, but he's not a credible witness. I know that. I have gotten the gist of it. She's been going over it for an hour.
By
She
the way,
started out
thing that
giving
you
him
said
the wrong report. She gave
was
him the
that
criminal
when
report
you
of another
sold it back to Adam,
another guy.
incredible is actually the right English word for it. You got it right, but
Sell it
us
to
Americans
somebody
don't use that much.
Oh,
that
I
right?
thought incredible was
We tried trading it.
the
to
Incredibles
Mike
from
Sullivan.
Disney or whatever, whoever made it.
you said that you and Adam were in a car together, right?
I
You're
can't.
only an hour and 20 minutes in, so I won't give further
need a
examples of
break?
how we incorrectly use.
Yeah, I'd like to see the report again.
As I told Mo earlier, this is a judgmental free zone. We don't use proper English, Danish, or any other. And we had
So-
a very good lesson in street English yesterday.
Well, then I'll go into it. So the English word intercourse, does it mean intimate relations? It actually means to converse or to interact with each other. I'm wearing Free Zachariah Anderson.
Yeah. Try to put the hood down inside the collar,
Yeah.
and if
So
you have maybe have a chain.
Yeah, right.
So when you talked to the police in April, you talked about driving over with Adam
Yeah,
to Mike Sullivan's,
yeah,
and that
We would never do that.
Adam
You're half
went
the
inside
entertainment.
yeah.
and
That's right. You drew attention to it.
And this is the problem.
and you say that
She goes into a story
Adam took that gun that you
and,
had for
and
a
she
couple of months
forgets
and
where
sold
she was
that to
going.
him,
And
wrapped up
yesterday
in
was
like-
so bad.
that
I
right?
lost it
Yeah.
completely with the face tattoo guy.
Yeah.
Is this the prosecutor asking, or is this
That
Cross?
He stayed
This is
there
Cross.
for about
It's a
45
This is
Later
his
Hoff.
attorney.
Yeah. Came back
and
out
Yeah,
then
with
he,
it.
it's David's
Pardon?
They
attorney.
came back out with it.
It's the old lady with
Okay.
the bowl cut
so
and the one who's
This is
moving
what
the
you said
furniture
in
around and then
April
goes away
of
from the
this year,
microphone like
right?
every other attorney.
Yeah.
and
Wasn't there a discussion about us
Mikey or
wearing
Mike,
matching
you called
outfits
him
at one
Mikey,
point?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike
I
Sullivan
believe
was
yesterday
somebody that you
you
had hung out
claimed
with
that there would
before,
be
right?
naked
Once.
streams today.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were
Oh,
supposed
I
to be
thought you
naked.
said that you had.
We traded the gun to him or whatever. We
So,
tried to trade the gun to him. That's what I'm
Probably
saying.
better
We
for
went over there, I met him
everyone
one
if
time.
you wear a turtleneck
was
and a
the only
chain
time you met
instead of
Mike
being
Sullivan?
naked.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he might have been in the
Harold
house
would have
or,
the pictures if
someone
we did
before.
it.
I really don't know who he was. It was more of Adam's friend than mine.
Okay, I thought that you had said a few minutes ago that you had hung out at Mike Sullivan's, not at, with other people at Mike Sullivan's, not really so much at Adam's.
I said I hung out at Adam's.
The naked
Nobody
biker.
wants that.
Oh, it was the discussion in my chat. I would lose subscribers.
Yeah. I just got the bump from following your channel, so I wouldn't scare everybody away again.
Right.
It would be too bad. Finally got over 100, so
Nice. Hey, what are you at?
130, 30ish, 133, I think.
I put the blast out there on Twitter. I said, if you want to learn how to get banned from a crack house, come check out Baker's channel.
I think, if I may have a moment.
It's only the top end crack houses you could get banned from.
That's right. The
But
lower
Jamie,
end ones invite everybody.
Yeah, Jamie has so high standards, so. But I really don't understand why she keeps hammering. Like I said, she went to the guy who resurrected Tupac and had the dead horse resurrected and beat it to death again. You could do this in half an hour.
She's not prepared. She's not prepared.
So I do want to
That's
get this
what it is.
straight. Are
This
you
is not
saying
adequate
that you went to
preparation
Mikey
for the trial.
Sullivan's but didn't go in?
No,
that
and
was
I
the
know
only
this
time you
trial
had
is
been in?
nothing. It's just to prepare a lot of
No, it's not. I
incredibility
don't know.
in the witnesses. That
Can't recall, honestly.
Right.
It's been so long.
this is
What I'm
just
saying
a
is I
show
met
trial
Mike Sullivan
for
once.
the defense till the real trial. I don't understand why this trial goes on
Yeah,
before.
can you actually pause it for a second? I have some questions. I don't want to overtalk the.
Yeah,
So this trial, this is not a murder trial, right? This is only
Nope.
a gun
This is-
theft trial, right?
theft of guns, possession as a felon, and a reoffender.
So this defendant has
a
priors. Obviously,
habitual-
he's a felon, so he's not supposed to have possession of a firearm. And this trial is only with regard to whether or not he possessed a gun and whether or not he stole a gun. Is that fair?
Possessed and disposed and stole the gun. Obtained, possessed, disposed. He got
Okay.
3 charges with each gun, and there was the 308, but I don't know why it wasn't mentioned. But there was a 308 missing too. But
And
the
what did
Mossberg and AK was the main indictment in this case.
Okay. And what is it alleged that this defendant did with those firearms? Did he kill someone?
No, he just sold them to his crack friends,
Oh, okay. All right.
and
I thought there was a separate trial that was coming up after this.
yeah, there's his daughter went missing back around the same time, 2019, and 2 years later, the authorities found out, and Then they went looking for her. She went missing, and then in, I believe, 2022, they brought charges against him, alleging that he beat her to death.
Okay, so it's not at all related to the gun.
No, but all the witnesses, most of the witnesses, we'll be seeing again in August. So they want to show that they're not credible. I wanted to ask you yesterday, when the judge excused the jury, they said, "And don't look up the Harmony trial." Isn't that prejudicial? You know what
Prejudicial?
I mean? Yeah, to the jury.
I don't know the Harmony trial. Is that a separate ancillary case, or was it a particular case that was like argued by the attorneys?
The Harmony case is the murder of his daughter. She's named
Oh,
Harmony.
okay.
So a 4 or 5 year old girl. He's just had custody 4 months before she disappeared, and they never found the body. So, but it's they allege that he beat her to death. So it's that's why I jumped on this case, because I know what they're gonna use this case for, to sow a lot of smoke around the witnesses as not credible witnesses, so they can bring it back. A lot of the people who's going to testify in this case have been charged with perjury before a grand jury. His ex-wife has been charged with 2 counts of perjury. So in the NFL case, we have people who are just, the debate team is not riding the long bus. And in this case, everybody is doing drugs. And like Mo said earlier, this witness better be wearing a helmet, because he has some problems. So this is it's just, I don't know, small town crackhead united. So
everyone thinks I'm wearing a turtleneck. No, it's the Free Zachariah Anderson hoodie. Okay, very interesting. So nobody is credible in this case. It's us, a bunch of dumbasses and thugs that were calling up to the stand and are being prosecuted all over the place. They're throwing everybody away. That's kind of what I thought would happen in the NFL case after the big issue of the murder charges. After that, then they're going to be charging every single one of those witnesses that took the stand and said, yeah, we showed up and we had guns. Or we didn't have guns. There just happens to be my gun, found in the area with my fingerprints or whatever. Or I admitted to it being mine. Okay, interesting. I just I thought the gun was in connection to a murder, but it sounds like it's not. It's just he's also up for
it's a totally separate. It's alleged that he beat her. It's a 2nd-degree murder charge with the daughter. They haven't found the body, so like you see on the screen, Zachariah Anderson. It's the same. There's no body, and only this group of crackheads that is pointing the finger at him, and that's why I wanted to see how the defense does in making them look untrustworthy. And I believe yesterday, face tattoo guy, he got away with it pretty well. But he wasn't really connected. He just had the Facebook comments about buying the gun. The meth fairy, the one he stole the gun from, I thought that the defense started out hot, but then Elaine just took over and talked for 4 hours, and in the end, I got tired. And luckily, I can see it as a layman. You see it as a professional. You see it as a lawyer. I'm just like a juror, because I don't understand the rules. I don't understand the decorum in court. I can just listen, and she irritates me so much, and I can't remember what she's talking about.
So getting back to your question, why the jury or why the judge would instruct the jury not to look at the case involving the daughter. And I didn't watch in depth like you were watching. Was the disappearance of the daughter brought up at all in front of the jury?
No, she just, when they're making the in Danish you said the udgangspunkt, the last prayer before people walk out of church. She just said, remember, don't look it up, blah blah blah. If you can keep off social media, blah blah blah, and don't look into the Harmony case. And I thought
might have been that's weird if it wasn't brought up in front of the jury, because you would think, Like if it was brought up in front of the jury and it shouldn't have been, then the judge is giving the jury limiting instructions like, listen, it's not relevant. Don't look it up. Don't do anything about it. So at some point, it must have been brought up either in a motion in limiting or a motion by the defense, or probably the defense. I don't know why the prosecution would bring that type of motion, to instruct the jury not to consider that particular case or that issue at all. So it had to have been brought up at some point, since the defense didn't object to it. If it wasn't brought up in front of the jury, it was probably addressed in like a side motion regarding a motion in limiting. You know, and a motion in limiting is something you file before court, or before trial rather, that says, hey, judge, we believe the other side's going to bring up this issue. Don't allow them to talk about it or bring it up or introduce any evidence about it. And so if that was brought up, then the discussion of a jury instruction, maybe this is made local papers, you know, maybe it was brought out during jury voir dire, you know, when they're questioning the jury. Somehow the jury knows about this, is my sense, whatever it is. And so the judge is giving them the instructions to not look it up. But I don't know how they came to have known about it, but it would have been proper to instruct the jury if they know about it. And I have to assume they know about it for some reason.
Yeah, I didn't see the jury selection, but they gave them the instructions at jury selection when they what's it called, sat the jury. So I didn't hear what the instructions was, but it just came out like, I don't know what. It's just like it slipped out, but I don't know. Manchester, New Hampshire, is it a big town? When I Google it, I can see it's all over the pages having to do with the New Hampshire news or whatever. So it's probably
well known then.
Yeah.
And then the disappearance of the daughter and the news media is all over it. I have to imagine it was addressed with the jury when they were sitting them. And that's why that special instruction is there. And although it might sort of reinforce it in the jury's mind, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You want to make sure that the jury is instructed properly, but you also don't want to reinforce it. So I don't know. Juries are weird to begin with. And so it's always kind of more art than science when you're dealing with them.
Yeah, it's like in the Brooks trial where he couldn't bring in that his kid's mother was underaged.
Yep.
They couldn't to not prejudice the jury. The questions from this morning before you have to go. They were going to have a hearing Monday morning probably about the witness called Garcia. Could that be because he was wanted to plead the fifth, so they wanted to take him out before he takes the stand, so the jury doesn't have to hear it?
Yeah, because that could be prejudicial for the jury to hear. And if a defendant says that I'm going to take the fifth, meaning I'm not going to testify at all, because someone has the right to remain silent if what they say could implicate them in a crime, and that includes even a witness on the stand. So if you're compelled to testify, but what you're going to be asked could implicate you in a crime, you have the right to say, no, I'm going to remain silent. You have to do that with attorney's advice in this sort of formal setting. And presumably this witness was subpoenaed to appear to answer questions, and this witness showed up with his attorney and said, no, I'm not going to answer that. All of that could be prejudicial very much to the state or even the defense, depending on how the questioning went. So it would be appropriate to pull the jury aside, set them in the back, have the judge conduct a hearing to determine what the testimony could be eliciting, whether or not that's going to actually be criminally or establish criminal culpability at some way, but then also allow the court to hear argument from the witness's attorney as to why his client should not be compelled to testify in violation of his Fifth Amendment rights. All of that would be appropriate to hear outside of the jury. And one of your questions is why is this happening so late in the day? Why wasn't this addressed prior? It probably was somewhat ancillarily addressed prior, but trials are very fluid. You don't know. Like, for example, I had my trial the other day, and I had a witness in the wings all day. And then at lunch break, we decided we didn't need him and sent him home. And then as the defense went, I said, oh, there might be this other person that I want as a rebuttal witness. So I said, hang on a second. We might want to come back the next day to call this rebuttal witness. But then I got on the phone with the rebuttal witness, and I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to call this person, so we can wrap up everything today. And so it's very fluid. So although you have people listed on your witness list, you might not call them depending on what the testimony comes out in trial. And so that's why it would be appropriate to address this at a late stage. Even though the person's subpoenaed, doesn't mean you're going to call them.
No, and he could maybe be thinking about it and saying, well, admitting to this and this probably isn't the wisest. If he, like this witness, had been trying to get a plea deal and the state has said, nope, you don't get immunity, then maybe he's been having second thoughts and saying, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm pleading the fifth. It could be as simple as that stupid just got smart and didn't want to incriminate himself in front of the world.
He lawyered up. That was the smartest thing he did. He lawyered up.
And I have to say, for the first time in any trials, the guy understand. Oh, and that's another thing. They're not showing him. I don't know. Maybe it's a local thing because he's incarcerated. I can't understand why they wouldn't show him. But the ladies wanted to see his face because.
Is this the one with the attorney in the Fifth Amendment issues? Is that this witness? Or?
No. This one has a plea deal. He got immunity for this testimony, not his previous testimony.
So
I think it just dawned on him that when the defense asked him, "Do you know what it says in the plea deal?" Yeah, I can't be held liable for my testimony. Yeah, today. But he got a concussion, so he's not the smartest person.
The cameras in the courtrooms are completely up to the discretion of the judge. And the other sides can make arguments back and forth, but at the end of the day, it's up to the discretion of the judge. So if this witness came in and part of the plea deal was, fine, I will testify, I'll take this plea deal, but I don't want my face on camera, and the parties agree, and the judge agreed, that's most likely what happened.
Yeah. Oh, and Tootly Pip, I know she was 5 years old, but he just got custody of her, I think, 4 months before that, so I maybe messed up the numbers. So
the child was young, like 5?
He's just turned 5.
I was thinking like older, like
no. It's and that's what
she ran off with her friends. That 5-year-old's not running off.
Yeah. It could be maybe she went by Petco, and you know what happens at Petco.
Right, pregnant women with fake bellies, right?
Yeah, and they take all the kids. But that's why this case, when it showed up, I thought, well, it could be very interesting because again, they have nobody, but all of the witnesses are drug addicts, and all of them are career criminals. So the defense strategy must be they're not credible.
Yeah, absolutely. Just destroy the credibility of the witnesses. Again, so we're talking about evidence here, right? The witness, a lot of people are like, well, there's no evidence to back up what the witness said on the stand. The witness's statement on the stand is the evidence. The question is how much do you believe that evidence? Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I think when I see you have a pretty good chat. Jeff has a pretty good chat. Ricada has a very good chat. But when I watch Law and Crime, I get the feeling they don't understand what the court system is. They think that you have to get a DNA sample, a photograph, and a signed copy. Yeah, I killed this person to say it's a guilty or not guilty. No, most of it is, do I believe what you're telling me? Yes, there's a phone that maybe was in the area. Do I believe he had the phone? Was it his friend who had his phone? That's up to the jury to how do you feel? You asked me yesterday if I felt that they were credible witnesses, and like I said, it's a gut feeling. Yeah. When I saw the crack fairy yesterday, I thought she wasn't the most credible, especially after the noon
She had
break.
nice show teeth, though.
She had, and her eyes were very, very pinpointy. Especially after dinner, when she came back, and she seemed like she had fallen off the wagon in the lunch break. So she wasn't credible. But face tattoo guy, he was pretty credible to me. And everything in the trial, like you said, it's fluid. And you'll have to think on your feet too if you can see, oh, this one hit home. Maybe I should try and change my strategy, because I could see in the jury box some eyebrows being lifted. And then that's
the other thing too. You watch the jury, and if the jury's not buying it, or like in my trial, I watched the judge, and I determined, you know what, I don't really need to spend an extra hour and a half on this extra witness, because the judge is kind of nodding along. He's interested. He's taking notes when I want him to take notes. He's not when I don't want him to. I'm like, I don't need to spend another hour and a half on a witness that's not really going to help us all that much at the end of the day.
No, and that's what I said. when we had our talk, I tried to be very stoic in the courtroom, because I don't want them to get any ideas that, oh, that one hits home, that one was stupid, because I could maybe change the perception in the trial. So we have to try to stay as stone-faced as possible.
Yeah.
But in your system, where it's just some guy in from the street, they will gonna be showing emotions, and we do too if it's pretty bad. But I think it's easier with people who hasn't done as many trials as I have to make them show emotions and see, oh, I have to push this line more than this line. So, and Josie, I'm pretty sure this jury knows everything about the disappearance of Harmony. She's been gone for 4 years, and when I Google his name and her name, it's all over the place. And I'm pretty sure he's going to get convicted in this case, even though they are pretty good at showing that the breadcrumbs might lead somewhere else. The Garcia guy, the one, Ismael Garcia, that's the guy who wants a hearing. So he's probably not going to testify. And the defense wants to frame it on him, but I'm sure everybody knows that this case is just a preamble for the big case in August.
Yeah, this is an interesting case. Yeah, it's just nobody's credible. Everyone's a mess. I mean, you're dealing with just the lowest form of humanity, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just worthless people accusing worthless people, testifying against worthless people.
Yeah, and
so
everyone is looking for the plea deal, so they get less time in prison, so they can get back out and buy some heroin.
Mhm.
And as I have a lot of friends who are prison guards, and I always tell them prison does something to people, because I've never convicted anyone who didn't want to stop doing drugs, and I see them half a year later and they're still on drugs. So I save them, and prison ruins them. So that's
Yeah.
just the reality. It's prison that's bad for them, because every drug addict stopped doing drugs the moment they stepped into court.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a big push there's been for a while, but we have a fairly decent drug rehab service, part of probation on criminal matters here, at least in Michigan and throughout the rest of the country. And the focus is on getting these people clean, because if they don't, then not much good is going to come out in the future.
That's just a hamster wheel.
Yep,
They're just going to run. And we're doing a lot of it. We have a big center in my town where every morning you can see them line up to get methadone and stuff like that, so they could get treatment. But the problem is a lot of them supplement their treatment, and they don't really have any
self-medication,
skills.
and
yeah,
it's a bad thing.
yeah. And just even in my small, we are like my whole area county, it's like 50,000 people, but we're the main hub on Fyn. We are the second largest city, and we have lots of drugs, really, really bad.
Well, making those punishments stiffer is definitely going to help you guys over there. Or no, that's Sweden that did that.
Yeah, I don't understand.
They didn't learn from us in the 80s, right?
No, and we're looking into legalizing. If Germany does it, we'll probably go along with it.
I don't know if Sweden would ever go that way. They seem to be going the opposite direction.
Sweden is the stepchild of Scandinavia. They have they are
Nicholas in the chat.
No, but it's so different. If you see the immigration laws, they are totally left wing, and then you see the drug and alcohol laws. It's totally teetotaling. So it's such a confusing country. But
yeah, they do their own thing.
There.
That's the sort of the moral of the story. Sweden does whatever the hell Sweden wants to do.
Yeah, and we just have to say Wendy is right. I'm normally in one of David's followers, so we are very critical thinkers.
Humble brag. I like that.
Yeah.
Humble brag.
But David, thank you so much for coming on and explaining some things, and I will let you go.
I'll try to be in the chat as much as I can if you have any more questions. But the one with regard to the witnesses and stuff, I thought I'd just jump in and throw in my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. I'm just a layman, and I need some help.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'll see the rest of you all in the chat. And you got to stream the rest of the this day's trial, right?
Oh, and before you leave, I just got insulted.
Oh, what now?
Oh,
Holland?
do I wear
No.
clocks? Do I have a windmill in the background? If you look up there, that's a map of the best country in the world, the ruler of Scandinavia, Denmark, the one and only country that you have to know everything about.
That was
But,
ruled by Sweden for many years.
Nope, never. We rule Sweden. And
Where my wife
Nicholas,
is from and where Nicholas lives used to be controlled by Denmark.
yeah, and Norway had a very good time the 500 years they were under our crown, and we remind them about it every time we get the chance. So that's the brotherly love in the Scandinavian countries. But thank you so much. Get out and have a nice Friday and enjoy your day.
All right, we'll see you all. Thanks. Take care.
Well, thank you so much, David. It's so nice to have nice friends. But let's get back to this very interesting cross-examination of this concussion guy.
Maybe, possibly, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I didn't really hang out with his friends, you know what I'm saying? So I hung out with him, that's what I'm saying. So anytime I hung out with Adam, it was me and
Gertie
Adam,
is
you know what I
sweet.
mean? Don't really know any of his friends. I know who Mike Sullivan was because we tried to trade the gun to him.
Well, you didn't go in the house, right?
No, but I've seen him before. He was in a car one time.
With you and Adam?
No,
Huh.
I just know that's who we were buying the stuff from.
You were buying drugs from Mike
Yeah,
at some point?
at some point.
Okay. So you knew Mike from buying drugs from, and you knew it was his house that you were saying that you were going to with Adam with the gun?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
It's okay. You have to
And
learn.
let me talk about
Please,
the
Mats,
immunity.
don't
that
ban her from
you
the
have
chat.
here in
It's
the
okay. Everyone can make a mistake.
You could
Someone
have
made a child with
chosen not
Adam
to
Montgomery,
talk to
so
the police
everyone is
today,
allowed a mistake in
right?
life.
Sure.
Because you had a Fifth Amendment privilege then too, right?
Sure.
Do you know that?
No, not really.
Okay. So you didn't know that you didn't have to talk to the police.
No.
You certainly didn't know that you didn't have to talk to the police.
I wanted to talk to them. I offered to talk to them. So when
Okay.
they came in, I didn't hesitate.
Okay. But now you're hesitating talking here in court about the crime that you committed in possessing a gun.
Oh, there's no question of that at all. I bought the gun. That's point blank period. I bought it off them.
Okay. And you recently resolved a felony to a misdemeanor to get no additional time. Is that
Yeah,
right?
we've been over this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I can't step away for a second, then they stop talking. But truthfully, this is Denmark. This is where Nicholas lives. Down here, that's Holland. This is the best part of Denmark. That's where I live. Over here is Copenhagen. That's the only town everybody in the world knows about. But that's the real Scandinavia. Well, the part where we lost to Germany, that's still on that map, but we don't talk about that. Oh, you used to be Danish too. You were lucky then. So you have to know that Denmark is the bestest place in the world. It's it's good that you can tell the stream about it, because by some mistake they think that it's the Americas that's God's own country, but they have to go to Denmark and see. I'm living 45 minutes away from where Hans Christian Andersen was born, so that's how close to fame I am. Because we sent our friends from Scandinavia down to France, they became the Normans, then they stole Danish country in England from us and became the English. I know, but when the Daneland existed back in the Viking ages, we owned England too. It was back when we were fun. We beat a lot of people.
That stipulation, ladies and gentlemen, the parties have agreed to a stipulation. That stipulation is that the last conviction that was referred to with regard to this witness was prosecuted by the Office of the Hillsborough County Attorney. Okay, so the stipulation is that the last conviction that was referred to was prosecuted by the Office of the Hillsborough County Attorney. You may proceed.
Small follow-up question.
Yeah.
Matter prosecuted by the Hillsborough County Attorney's Office. That is not the same as the Department of Justice, correct?
Say it again.
That's not the same office.
David, I don't know what the slander laws are like in Michigan, but I'm going to hire an attorney. Germany wasn't a country 300 years ago. It was Bismarck who made it a country. You can't say stuff like that on this channel. Wendy, Jamie, maybe a small ban for saying, I can't tell him it's stupid, but it's not nice calling us Germans. We tried very hard not to help them too much back in 44 and 45.
No, I don't believe so.
A few months ago, Attorney Smith asked you, made a statement that you're giving police what they
You're talking about the cakes,
with
right?
regards to you agreeing to sit down and speak with police, on that, you feel that you were giving them what they wanted?
No, I was just giving the information I had.
So you didn't make up this information for them?
No.
And I guess the last question that I have for you is with regards to you being here today. You were subpoenaed to be here, correct?
Yes.
All right. So you didn't have a choice to be here, did you?
No.
And with regards to that, on this, you're currently at the New Hampshire State Prison.
Yes.
All right. What unit are you housed in?
Right now, PC.
Okay. And explain for the jury what PC is.
Protective custody.
And when were you placed into protective custody, before or after you were subpoenaed in this case?
After I was subpoenaed.
Sustained. Approach.
We can't really grow eggplants in Denmark. It's too cold. But if you have bought some Danish eggplants, yeah, you're a little Danish. I know it's Friday, but behave, Indigo, behave.
You may restate the question. Sustained. You may restate the question. Rephrase the question.
Thank you. Mr. Bell, is it fair to say that you do not want to be here today?
Sure.
I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
Nope, nothing further.
On cross-examination, the question was, it was the Hillsborough County Attorney that reached your deal, not these prosecutors here, right?
Right.
But it was the Manchester Police Department that was involved in talking to you about Mr. Montgomery, right?
We'll say that again.
It was the Manchester Police Department that talked to you about Mr. Montgomery.
Yes.
Thank you.
Why? Why waste more time?
Any objection?
Yes. No. Wrong.
All right, I'm going to have you stay right there for just a moment,
Yeah.
Mr. Bell. It's 10:30. Just
Eggplants are no
Just
fun,
the
I
time
know
for our
that.
mid-morning break, so we'll take 15 minutes. I'll see you back here at 20 of. You may remain seated.
All right.
Everyone else, please rise for the jurors.
Let's see if we can catch up. Come on, court. They're getting their steps in today, running up and down to talk to the judge. No, Wendy, this is just gun charges. He's on trial for stealing 2 guns, possessing the 2 guns. He's a felon. He can't do that. And for getting rid of the guns, selling them to some of his crack friends. But the murder of his daughter will be in August, and I thought this could be interesting to see the defense attack on the witnesses, because a lot of them will be coming back in the murder trial. And we have seen it, especially today, that Elaine Braderhoff too is trying to make the witness seem less credible. She's been hammering on about this plea deal that he made. So I thought it could be interesting to see the start of the trial, because this trial leads into the other one. And I know I'm not a big channel, and I just thought it could be fun to try and do something. Not every big channel is gonna cover. Probably a lot of the big ones is gonna cover the murder case, but I like to get my feet wet, and luckily David is here to hold my hand when it gets too bad, even though he didn't wear the turtleneck as promised. I'm gonna blush.
You can have the witness ready in the courtroom. Thank you. And then whenever we're ready, we'll.
Yeah, it was just as much to see how the defense is gonna attack them.
Are you ready to bring in the jurors, everybody?
Bring in Jersey. Okay. So the defendant is present in the. But I thought that it would be good to see how they're gonna strategize for the big trial, because I'm gonna be lost in that, because I'm just a little channel. But I think we can see some of the tactics they're gonna use, and that could be interesting, because this is not a normal case, and this is not nothing to do with. Yeah, it's not like the NFL case or Darryl Brooks. This is just some mundane stuff. So I thought it could be interesting. Oh, he's a looker too. Nice neck beard. Thank you so much, and I'm so happy David lent me his chat today. So you keep me
Please be
entertained,
seated.
because it's kind of
Maybe
boring
call us
sitting
next
here
witness.
talking to a monitor.
I'm just gonna make sure that you swear that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth and the whole truth.
I do.
You can have a seat, make yourself comfortable, there's some water.
Sir, if you pour the water, just lift the lid first, because otherwise, there you go.
David said before that maybe that the witness didn't want it to be
Okay,
on
before we
camera.
get started, there's a
so,
microphone right in front of you.
he could
Okay.
Okay,
have
and so
said
if you
that,
could just
and the
pull that
judge
a
could
little
have
closer
granted
to
him
you.
not being on the camera.
Okay.
But this
So you might
handsome
want to
guy
get a little
needs the
closer
camera.
to it. I just want to make sure that we're making a clear record. Everything's being recorded. Can you start by saying
You
your
are
first and
very,
last name
very
and spelling
fun,
it for
and
the
you are
record?
very, very helpful.
Michael Sullivan, MICHAELSULLIVAN,
And how old are you, Mr. Sullivan?
42.
Where do you currently live?
In East Hampton, Massachusetts.
And who do you live there with?
My wife,
Any children?
5.
And prior to living in East Hampton,
He's
Massachusetts,
almost
Mass.
as
Prior to living
active
in
as
East
you, Mo.
Hampton, Mass.
Only 5
Where did you
children.
live?
Manchester, 620 Somerville Street.
Did you receive a subpoena to be here today?
Yes.
Would you have been here without?
Thank
a
you so
subpoena?
much for
Yes.
showing up, Wendy, and have a nice day. And
You mentioned that you lived in
thank you
Manchester.
very much for coming
on
by
Somerville Street.
and holding
Yes.
the
How long
wrench
were you
for me.
there?
I want to say 3 years, 3.5 years.
And when you lived there, who were you living there with?
My wife and kids.
I want to turn your attention to late 2019. Were you living back on Somerville Street in Manchester back
Yes.
in late 2019? And where were you in life at that point in time?
Just prior to that, I was living on another part in Manchester, and I was doing construction, and I started taking pills, Percocet, and then after that, I just became an addict. I started doing like heroin, and I would do cocaine, and I just became an addict. Same time, it's like looking back on it now, it's like it's like a lifestyle. It's like you get so wrapped up in it that like you don't understand that it revolves everything you do in your life at the time.
Do you remember around when that addiction started?
Maybe Chad can help me. For the non-druggy purses, the drug he said he started on, is that pain medicine or what? Percocet, I think it's the name. Is that drug morphine pills or something?
Right before I had moved to Somerville, so I think I was 37, 38.
What year would that have been around?
15, maybe 2015, 16. somewhere
Okay.
in there.
Now I get it. Thank you.
Your wife, you mentioned you lived with her in Somerville Street.
Yeah.
Was she aware of this addiction?
Not for a long time, not for a long time, because she's never done like any drugs or even smoked or drank or anything like that. So
They always
Like,
are on the
after
package,
I, like,
but then they find out
it
how
gets to the point where you
addicted
think you're hiding it from everybody, but really like everybody knows, and you're kind of just lying to yourself. So like once my wife confronted me about it, you say you're gonna fix it, you lie. Usually it takes you hitting like rock bottom. What happened to me,
When was rock bottom for you?
I had gotten in trouble. Like I was worried about losing my kids, and my wife was taking the kids and leaving, and she got tired of broken promises and was going to just take my kids and leave.
Was that around January of 2020?
Well, then I'll have to do it.
The objection is sustained. I'll let the answer stand, but caution the state. No leading questions, please.
Do you remember when you hit rock bottom?
It was early 2020.
Prior to that, what was your drug of choice?
It started with Percocet, and then it went to heroin, or fentanyl, either or.
Heroin or fentanyl?
Was that
Yeah.
undressed enough?
Are you sober now?
Yeah.
How long?
18 months.
18 months sober?
I went to a facility, and then I also go now daily to
a place in Mass where I get treatment and I do meetings still. So
I think the chat knows a lot about drugs. I don't know
And I think
why.
you said earlier it took you getting into trouble to get sober.
I know why.
getting into
Damon
trouble,
knows
but
about them.
it was more like like getting sick, and then like I don't think you really think about yourself as much because you're destroying yourself, but like at some point you kind of open your eyes and see everybody around you and realize you're like destroying them too.
Oh, that must have been a camera glitch or something. We'll
And
do
I
it
noticed
another
you just
day
looked
again.
down when you
Can't
said
do it
that. Is
twice
this
in one day.
something, this period in your life, is it something that you're proud of?
No.
So back to late 2019, did you have a circle of friends?
I did. I had like a big house, so like my house was like probably half of this place, the bottom, my cellar, and it was huge. So I kind of just had like a revolving door because, when you're like, you justify everything you do, and then when you like start doing drugs, you're like, you get sick, you get really sick if you don't have them, and I mean, you get hot flashes, you sweat, you shake, you can't control your bowels, you don't sleep,
Thank you
and
for
you
being
have
here, Mo. And,
agonizing pain,
I'm glad to hear you
So,
get to work out with any
like a lot of
pain,
people,
but
not that
I
it's an
got two
excuse,
herniated
but like
discs. I know some
some
days
people are
are
addicts
not as fun
and
as other
they get to
days.
the point where they just don't want to get sick, like people do get high, but
Unfortunately,
like
there was a glitch in my
the
camera.
thing you really don't want to
We'll
have
do it
happen
another day
is
when you
get
have
sick,
done the turtleneck chain
and
get up.
so I would have everybody at my house, and then like I guess like you think they're your friends, and I guess you think you're being their friend because like I would give them drugs, they would give me drugs, and like like I wasn't being a good friend then, but
So you
like,
mentioned
you tell yourself that.
you had a lot of people that you would trade with, and you guys thought you were friends. Who were those people back in
I
2019?
had a lot. I had I had Adam, I had Ish, Kimmy, Amber. I could name 50 people.
We have started seeing it with teenagers in schools in Denmark.
You
They're
mentioned
buying
someone named Ish.
opioid
Mhm.
Do you
pills
know the
now
full name of
to
that person?
party. So
Ishmael Garcia.
yeah,
And how long did you know Ishmael Garcia for?
I knew Ish. He was the person that
want to see that one.
had met in Beach Hill. He's the person that I got started doing it.
And so you had a drug connection with him?
Yeah.
You mentioned Kimmy. Do you know her name or full name?
Kimmy is like she's like a really good person, and she's one of those people that like you meet some people you see like that are doing drugs, they're easy to
Sustained.
So, Mr. Sullivan, my question was, do you know what Kimmy's full name is?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kimberly Frayne, I think.
And how did you know her?
Like I said, she was like,
She's the wife
I had met her from
whose husband had the gun stolen.
like she had called
Meth
when
Berry, I
her
called
car
her
went
yesterday.
missing, and she would come over all the time. But like, Kimmy was just someone who like an easy target, like an easy target to.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I request permission to lead.
Approach.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who got into something not that fun, and it just went downhill really, really fast for him. And as I said, I have a bad back, and you can get almost everything you want when you have nerve pains. And I've seen some of the ones I've been in treatment with when we have our physiotherapy, and that they went fast down the bad rabbit hole, if you can call it that. Those pills are very, very good to take the pain away, and they're very, very hard to get away from. Court, please turn your mic on again. It could be interesting.
That's how long I knew her for.
Earlier you said soft target. What does that mean?
Approach?
Yeah, and it's just so important to try to not get a habit of taking them, because the days when my back is really bad and I can't hardly move, and the stuff I get, it's good. But luckily I'm allergic to morphine, so I can't take the really good pills. So I'm happy about that. But when you have pain, all those pills, they are really nice, but you kind of like to take them when you don't have pains, and that's the big problem. I have a friend who's a big strongman competitor, and he had some minor injury, and he fought like hell to get off them, and he's the strongest guy I ever met. Wasn't it
Mr.
that
Sullivan, you
in
also mentioned
old
Adam.
times? Now it's just like a
Who's
fashion statement.
Adam is sitting at the defendant table. He was somebody who he was the person who came over the house. You know, we did drugs, gave each other drugs. You know, same thing, just an addict knowing an addict.
And how'd you meet Adam?
We can
Manny
be
had come
anti-more.
over and we were hanging out and we all did drugs in the bathroom, you know.
So you just mentioned someone named Manny. Do you know is Manny a nickname?
Yeah.
Do you know his real name?
I think it's Hector.
Okay.
Ayala, I think, or something.
How do you make Hector to Manuel?
Back to the defendant. So you met him through Manny.
Yeah.
Manny.
And how long did you know him for?
Manny.
About the well, probably about maybe 16 months, somewhere in there, you know. I don't know, maybe in the same time frame as Kimmy, you know. It was kind of the same group.
And so there was a drug connection with
Yeah.
the defendant. Do you know what his drug of choice was back then?
Crack.
How
And like he would get sick if he didn't have, you know, heroin too.
How often would you see the defendant?
I mean, once he started coming over, it was like, you know, everybody kind of came over daily. You know, it was like I let my house become a drug house. You know,
Your house became a drug house? Did you ever go to the defendant's house?
once.
And do you remember where he lived?
On the west side, I don't know the name. I just know how to get there. You know, you go over the bridge to the west side.
feel for you.
You go
I had-
past like the Applebee's and that plaza on your left.
Attempt to
and
fix
the
my
left up the
herniated
hill,
discs,
and
and
that's how-
they
his
made
street
it
is on
move, so
the right,
it's not
about
fun.
midway down.
Are we talking about here in Manchester?
Yeah.
Do you remember who he was living with at the time?
His girl and his kid.
Do you remember his girl's name?
She worked at Dunkin's. I know. I think it's like Kayla or something like.
So you don't remember her
I'm
name?
not sure. Yeah,
That's fine. Did you ever do drugs with her?
one time.
And was that at your home? Or
That was
his-
at their home.
Their home. Besides that one time
We are
that you
not
did drugs
normal,
with her,
so
did you see her more than that?
don't thank us.
I mean, only like if you know he was stopping by with her or something like that. But it didn't really like you know. I never spoke with her, you know, or like you know. It was just that one time that we spoke at the house.
So again, I want to focus on late 2019. Back in late 2019, did you become aware of an incident involving stolen guns?
Yeah.
And can you tell us about that?
So, like I said, like if you know people that aren't used to aren't like are beginner drug addicts, then a lot of times you can like borrow their car or because they're just starting out.
So I'm going to stop you there, Mr. Sullivan. At some point you became aware of stolen guns.
Yeah.
Do you know whose guns were stolen?
Kimberly and Chris's.
And those are the Fraynes.
Yes.
He really wants to tell this story about
At some
borrowing
point
a car.
after learning about
It
that,
makes me feel like he's been coached to talk
did you have
about
a
it.
conversation with the defendant?
Yes.
Tell me about that conversation.
Well, we were at first it wasn't with him, like we were at my house, and like, so I'm not having to just.
So I want to focus on the conversation you had with the defendant, not with others.
So there was a conversation that was had at my house, and then when we were driving, we were getting high, and he didn't have any drugs, so I was giving him drugs, and then he was saying that his girl was going to be sick, so I gave him some more, and then he did that too. So I said, hey, like, I'll give you some more, but let's go to your house so I can make sure that she gets it so she doesn't get sick. And he was like, all right. And there was a conversation that happened at my house. And on the way over there, we spoke about that. The conversation that just happened at my house is about Kimberly having cameras. And Adam said, I know she's lying about the cameras, and I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I know she's lying about the cameras. He's like, because I'd already be in jail,
Oh, that's not good.
Okay, so let's back up. There was a conversation at your house, and who was present for that conversation?
I mean, there could have been 12 people there at the time, but I know it was me.
I don't know if
Kimmy
you
and
get something
Adam,
like meth
because
brain, even if you stop doing meth, because all
Kimmy
the
had like
witnesses
tried to say something to his girl, like
just
that, like
spaced out of their mind.
I didn't know at the
Why
time if she
they're
was
still
or wasn't,
doing
but
meth, I
like
can't tell. I'm
had
not
said,
doing
I
it,
have
but-
cameras, and
But he,
I guess his girl like got
they can't
upset or
focus
like
on anything.
And so were you,
Can we approach for a moment?
I don't know what the meth does to you, but all the witnesses in this case are just the same rambling, uncoherent, and it seems, and again, it's my gut feeling, it seems like they feel they have to say something very specific, and they try to say it over and over, and that makes me kind of feel like they've maybe been coached a little bit, that it's very important to say that you did something with a borrowed car, or the meth fairy. She was talking a lot about what happened exactly like in the opening statement, and when the defense tried to poke at her story, she couldn't remember anything, and she got a bit testy. So it's just good old clean American drug fun. Everybody in this trial seems like, I can't say idiots, but idiots. Come on.
so Mr. Sullivan, there was a conversation at your house. Sorry, was there a conversation at your house?
Yes.
And Kim Frayne was there for that?
Yes.
And the defendant was there for that?
Yes.
And obviously you were there for that.
Yes.
Did cameras come up in that conversation?
Yes.
You leave your house right after that?
Where actually me and him, we had gone and started getting high, and then after I had given him stuff, and then I gave him stuff for his girl. He did that, and then that's how we ended up going to his house, because I said, hey, I'll give it to her. you know, not that I was like doing a good thing at the time.
I just want to unpack that,
Sharing is caring.
and then we'll move on from there. And so before we do, if you didn't hear something yourself,
Only one of them
Okay.
or
up
unless I
till
specifically
until now
asked,
has been
so I just want to
given a
I just want
immunity
to ask about
deal.
what you heard.
None of
Okay.
the
what
others.
you saw.
The others
Okay.
are out of prison and presumably clean.
So you and the defendant were doing
that,
drugs,
it's
Hmm.
and he said he
the
needed some
brain
for
that's
his
not
girl.
working so well.
Yes.
He said she was drug sick.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you gave him, did you give him stuff for,
Yes.
okay. And he ended up doing that as well.
Yes.
And what had you given him?
Heroin.
All right. And so did you have a concern at that point?
Well, the whole, you know, like at the beginning, he had said his wife was sick, and like, not that like you're a good person for giving anybody anything, but like, if you've been sick, you don't want anyone to get sick. So, like, I was like, you know, and as awful as it sounds, like when you're doing it, like if you get sick, then, you know, everything is shutting down. You're like, you know, you're sweating, shaking, your stomach hurts, you know, you can't control your bowels.
So was your goal to
And
ensure?
what happens is if you take just a little bit, it all fixes everything. Like within moments, you're like back to normal, you know, just with a little bit. So I was going to go over there and just give her a little bit.
And you wanted to make sure
She
got
wasn't
it.
sick, but I'm not like, I wasn't doing her any favors by giving her any. I'm just saying that that's what I did, you know?
Your goal was to make sure she got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you leave at some point with the defendant?
Yes.
And how did you leave?
In his vehicle.
Sorry, did you
In
say
his vehicle.
in his vehicle? And was there a conversation in his vehicle?
Yes.
And can you tell me what the substance of that
And
conversation
we were
was?
having the conversation downstairs between him and Kimmy that I overheard. Then when we got in the car, he was laughing because he was like, she's bullshitting. I know she don't have cameras, you know? He's like, because if she had cameras, I'd be in jail already. Talking about, because she was saying that she had cameras the night that her guns got stolen.
Okay, and what's your understanding of the guns that were stolen?
So from all the people, like, my understanding is that she had given handguns, like, she said that, I don't know if she said they got stolen or not. I just know that she had given handguns to, like, Manny and Ish, you know, and then that her assault rifle was stolen.
All right. So we're back in the car with the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go from there?
To his house.
And was there another conversation with him at his house?
When we walked in, you know, he had told his wife who I was, and then what had just happened, and then she started telling me how much she disliked.
Sustained.
So I don't want to hear what Kayla told
Okay.
you, or his girl, sorry, told you. I want to hear what he told you.
He just, when we were on our way over there, he didn't really say much. He knew why we were going over there, and then after we had that conversation when we got there, he like was introducing me to his girl, you know?
Okay. And did the subject of the cameras come up when you got to
Yes.
to his house?
Yes.
Did he say anything in response to that?
No, she started talking about how much she didn't like.
This guy is confusing me more than Elaine is.
He went.
I know he want to go somewhere,
During-
but I'm not sure he
when
knows
we started
how to
discussing
get there.
the conversation we just had at my house, he was going into the back room to get the works. They're like, if you're getting needles, you know, and stuff. And then when
it's like
was
his
going
brain
in the back
starts
room,
going
he
somewhere,
said,
and then
like,
it
we
just
were
turns around and go
talking
another
about
direction.
that conversation we had. And then he said, I got it right back here. He's like, I got it in the back room, you know?
Okay. And at some point during that conversation, did you see the firearms?
No.
At any point after you found out about the theft of the firearms, did you see them?
Yeah. Yes.
When was this one time, multiple times?
The time that he came over to my house, and then I actually didn't have, like, he had come over, and I think he thought like he was going to be able to trade it. I don't know what he thought, but he came over and got out of it.
Sorry, Mr. Sullivan, my question was, did you see the guns one time or multiple times?
I saw the assault rifle once.
Okay. Was there another firearm
I
in this
believe
case that you saw?
I believe he brought like, I don't know. Yeah, 'cause I'm not. But I believe he brought a shotgun over and he just had it and was showing everybody. But I'm not.
When you say he brought it over where?
To my home.
So
Am I the
you
only one
mentioned
who's very,
an
very
assault rifle,
confused
and you mentioned the
at the
shotgun.
timeline in this?
Did you see those rifles or those firearms at the same time, or
No.
were those separate times?
Separate times. But like, I knew that it was because like.
I
From what I
understand why the
recall,
prosecutor
You know,
asked
there
if
was
he
4
could leave.
bullets like on the side of like the shotgun. That's why I knew it was like the shotgun. And then when I saw the rifle, like he had gotten it out of the car, and there was like a sheet over it, but he had the stock and the barrel sticking out, and he was walking up to my house. And I said, no, you can't, you know, because like it was broad day, and he looked like Rambo coming up, up the driveway with like just a little sheet over it, you know.
At any point, did the defendant offer you the firearms for sale?
When that day that he had come over,
No, I
he
don't
was
know.
talking to me about this, if I wanted it, and I said, I don't even have. I'm like, I'm gonna get sick soon. I rarely didn't have drugs, so like I said, I didn't have any, and he was like, when he had asked me if I wanted it, and he's like, that's right. He's like, I can get rid of this, and he's like, he had a buddy that he could get rid of it too.
Okay. And so the conversation that you're describing right now, you said you didn't have any what?
Heroin.
Is that what he was offering the gun to you for?
That's what he wanted to trade. He wanted to trade for anything. If I had, coke or heroin or anything,
Like the meth
I didn't have
yesterday's.
So he tells
his
you,
eyes looked
it's okay, I
like
can get rid of it.
he's not 100%
And this
in
is
my
at your
opinion,
house?
but what do I
Yeah.
know?
What happened next?
So I tell him, he like talks to somebody and he says, hey, I got a guy that's coming over and he's going to pull up and I'm going to give it to him. And I said, move your car out of my driveway. I had a big parking lot next to my house. And I said, will you go into the
Maybe
parking
it's
lot?
the partial
not
sober
in my
where
driveway.
you're not high
So
when
he went
you're
out
asleep.
and
The rest of the day you're not.
it's really like there's a fence and here's my door. And like maybe from me to you is where he parked, but it was out of my driveway.
Okay, so he moves his vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's after telling you that he has someone that's coming?
Yeah.
What was your understanding of what that person was coming to do?
He was getting rid of the gun.
He can
which
say a
gun are we
sentence.
talking
It
about
doesn't
on this
make
occasion?
much sense, but at least he's not saying if you say so.
Assault,
If you say
like
so.
the assault rifle. Like I say assault rifle. Like I don't know how they go, but I know it wasn't like the, hunting deer rifle. It was like a stock and like an assault rifle. I don't know.
Did you see what he did with that rifle that you just described?
Oh yeah, like
I totally agree, but his rambling is just making it hard. to
I
follow
was
along.
like, as awful as it is, like I was glad that he was doing what he was doing because, like, I didn't have any drugs. So then he was like, Mike, he's like, come with me. He's gonna give me money and stuff for it. And I said, all right. So when he showed up, we both went into the parking lot, and I got in the back seat. And after he got hit the gun, he was in the front seat.
And when you say he was in the front seat, who's he?
Adam.
Okay. And then you mentioned, he said, come with me. The defendant said, come with me.
Well, he wasn't saying come with me. He knew like I was not feeling well. So it was more like I was like, right when you get it, will you give me some? You know, like so I can feel better type thing.
So it sounds like you were sick at that point. Was that, would you call it dope sick? So you were in pain.
Yeah.
And he says, come with me. Did you go somewhere with him?
But you should just go through the pain, you know?
Okay. Did you go somewhere with him?
Yeah, I went to the car.
And we've talked about this. You regret a lot of the decisions you made back then. And you're not that person anymore.
Right.
Sustained.
So you went somewhere with him.
Got in the car.
Okay. Did the car leave the area?
Nope. We sat right there. He said, here. He said, here. I gave money. And Adam reached back, gave me stuff so I could take some real quick. I get back to him, and we left.
And you said he told you he was going to get money and stuff?
Yeah.
What does stuff mean?
Heroin.
At any point, did you hold either firearm?
No.
Do you remember being arrested on January 14th of 2020?
Yeah.
And do you remember providing a statement to law enforcement?
Honestly, like I don't. Just like with the, you know, like the movies you guys gave me and stuff. I don't want to look at any of that stuff. I look like, you know, I'm like 110 pounds. I didn't want to do any of it.
Do you remember
to be honest, you know?
Do you remember providing a statement back in January of 2020?
Yes, allegedly
sure
he
I did,
stole the
yeah.
weapons
Do
and
you remember
urged to
being
talk
asked
about cameras.
if you saw the guns?
He used to be in the community of
I'm sure they asked me
carrying
that.
drugs
I
to
mean,
each other. It's a
like,
very nice
I know
community.
that.
Everybody's
I'm
giving
just
all the
telling
other
you, like
people
I know that.
Do you remember being asked if
I
you
know
saw
what
the
I know.
guns?
Huh?
Do you remember
Rather
being
than our
asked
chat,
if
we
you
are
saw the guns?
just
I'm
telling
sure they
jokes.
asked me that, you know.
Do you remember saying, I held them. I held the AR and the shotgun?
I don't remember saying it. The shotgun, like that night I might have held it when he had the gun with the 4 bullets because I remember it was like a big deal at the house, but I don't remember holding them. I might have, you know. Wasn't really too much I wouldn't have done at the time.
Nope, you missed this guy with a meth brain who can't keep straight. The prosecutor asked if he could lead, was told no, and I think the judge regretted that, so he can steer him along because his mind is going everywhere at once. And he's 18 months sober, and some doubters
So,
in chat
Mr. Sullivan,
that they don't
obviously a lot
believe
of
him.
time has passed since the events that you're describing. Do you think that your memory of those incidents is better back then or now?
I think I just have like certain things that I remember 100% clear.
I will try to do it if there's no talking, if there's talking on screen, but bear with me. I'm a newbie. I'm a boomer. I'm everything wrong in the world. So I'm not sure I can promise you I will do it every time because sometimes my mouth starts walking and my brain catches up to it a bit later. A bit like this guy, just without the meth. And I probably wasn't ever 110 pounds.
You know.
There's certain things you remember 100% clear.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like only say them. You know, like that's what I was trying to say about like, you know, the shotgun thing. Like, I thought I remembered him coming over, but I can't say that 100% true. I don't know that it was like him with it, but I believe it was at the house and we were all there. So, like, it's disingenuous for me to say like it was definitely him with it. You know, I know for a fact about the. You know, that's what I'm saying, like the assault rifle and us getting in the car and doing all that, like, you know.
Okay, and so your relationship with the defendant back then, did you know his first and last name?
No, I knew his first name.
And what did you believe his last name was?
I didn't know. I didn't care.
So when you gave your statement in 2020, did you know the defendant's last name at that point?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know when I. He told me in a conversation once.
Okay. When you gave your statement in 2020, did you know his last name?
I'm not sure. You know, I don't know if I said his last name or not. I don't know. Like this is like that.
And that's fine.
I feel like this prosecutor really wants him to stop talking at specific times because he's afraid where his mouth can take him before his brain catches up to it.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Have any other questions for you?
Ross,
the
that's going
defense
to be
attorneys
interesting. I think this is going to be sad.
Good morning, Mr. Sullivan. How are you?
Good.
Do you remember me?
Yes.
I'll introduce myself again. I'm Caroline Smith. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you, Caroline.
Sorry.
And you can always believe a witness in a criminal case. They
You
never
said
lie.
something when you were talking about with the prosecutor about the January 2020 interview and seeing a movie on it. You talking about a video?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, so let's go back. That January 2020 interview. Did you re-look at it or anything?
No, I haven't looked at anything. Even the stuff like they gave me for today, I didn't look at them either. They gave me DVDs to be able to review, and I don't want to see what I look like. I don't want to see what I sound like. I don't want to be here today.
Right.
You know.
Right. But at the same time, you said that if they hadn't subpoenaed you, you would be.
I would.
Okay. So
Like I'm trying to not be.
that's,
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
I know you've answered, and
Yep.
you do talk a lot, right?
Sorry.
No, I'm asking now. You have a tendency to talk a lot, right?
World.
I mean, do I talk a lot?
Yep.
I don't know. Do you like? I converse. I usually am talking to somebody, so.
Let's talk about how long you.
I'll try and keep them short and sweet.
Just we only answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You knew Adam. Let's see. When you recall when Kimmy talked about stolen guns, right? You remember the time period?
Yes.
When?
Do I remember the time period of when it happened? No. I just know that we were all at my house. It was the same time in my life. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't know when it happened, but you do recall it happening and Kimmy talking about stolen guns.
I know that Kimmy said that Ish and Manny had taken her car and Adam had come over.
Okay. But you told the police before that Kimmy came over first was saying Ish and Manny stole the guns.
She called and said that they took her car. And I said, I know that when I got talked to Kimmy first, she said, because she knew kind of we all hung out together. And she said Ish and Manny wouldn't give her car back.
And I think that you said that is actually when you first really met Kim, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of helped her out there.
Yeah.
Right? But she said, if you let them know that you know their last names.
Yeah.
They'll bring it back.
Yeah.
Right? Because you knew their names.
Yes.
Right? And Ish had actually been a friend of yours for many years.
I mean, he was like a friend of mine. And like then I would have said yes, but now he was the guy who I got drugs from. You know, that's how I met him. That's the only way I knew him. You know, so I wasn't a good friend to other people I gave drugs to, so I wouldn't call him my friend.
I thought you knew him even before that. No?
No, I met him always drugs.
Okay.
You know, we hung out and we did things like watch football and did drugs together. We walked and talked and did drugs together. Like, Ish is a good person too. Everybody's a good person. I'm just saying that, like, you're not now, knowing what I know, I'm not a good person for like giving him drugs while we were hanging out, you know?
Okay.
You're so right, Mo, that the biggest problem with all this addiction is breaking the habits of your friends, because maybe you can beat the drugs, but if you go back to the same environment where everybody is just living the same life. I talked to a guy down in my gym who used to be a weed head, and he said every time I got in trouble, I ended up on the same couch with the same joint in my mouth and thinking, well, this is as good as life can be. And now he's with a sweet girl, has a young daughter, and has turned his life around. But he said the first thing I had to kick before I could kick the weed was my friends. So it's and it got to be tough for him if the demons he had with Adam and all those friends, they must be riding him right now in court.
In any event, you knew Ish for a few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And Ish would come over to your house.
Yes.
And
Both
I think
ways.
you were just saying
Both
that,
ways, yeah.
Pardon?
Both. I went to his house too, yeah.
Okay, you go to his house, he'd go to your house. Is that right?
Yes.
People would pop in at your house all the time.
Yes.
And at one point, Kimmy had called you, even though you didn't know her, to get some help getting her car back from Ish and Manny.
Yeah. I had, you know, Matt, and they worked with Matt and Alana, I believe it was, at Dunkin' Donuts, and like Matt and Alana were at my house all the time too. So like they were getting phone calls from her.
Okay, so you do kind of help her out, and after that, she starts hanging out at your place along with the others, right?
Yes.
And you said before that Kim had come over and accused Ish and Manny of having stolen her guns.
Yes.
Right? And then you turned around and you wanted to be nice to Kim, so you went and had a conversation with Ish. Right?
Yes.
And based on that.
Yes.
It would be nice if Elaine could just be in the same county as the microphone. She did so well on her first cross, and now she's just wandered off again. It's like your president wandering off and falling over. I think she just does it just to annoy me. But this guy, it's so sad to see him, and I really hope, even though he sounds like he's on drugs, I really hope he has kicked his habit, because like you said, it's not good for anybody sitting in a basement doing heroin. And if he seems like a guy who likes to talk to people, and maybe they were the one who was willing to listen to all his stories, because it doesn't seem to keep very good track of his jokes.
So, after you helping her with getting her car back, she started coming over to your place, right?
Yes.
And one time she came over to your place and said that Ish and Manny had stolen her gun.
Yes.
And when she told you that, you went and talked to Ish.
Yes.
And based on that conversation with Ish, you went and talked to Kim.
Yes.
And Kim no longer accused Ish.
No.
After that.
No.
Okay. But she accused everybody else, right?
She just said that they hadn't taken it, that was part of like their deal that weekend to get more drugs, and they were to use the car, and then like, you know, it was just a deal she had made.
Okay. So before I ask more about
Bum, 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 bum.
some of the things that you said before, let's talk about the various times that you've talked to law enforcement and prosecutors about
Okay.
this, okay?
Mhm.
So the state talked about an interview with police January of 2020, right? Is that right?
I don't remember it, like the dates, but I did. Yes.
Okay. And you said yes when he was asking you about that, right?
Yes.
And this was
I'm
the
sad to
time
hear about that.
You were
But,
driving and were pulled over,
Life takes some
Yes.
twists and turns,
and
and not all of them are good ones.
you could have gotten in criminal trouble for.
I did get in trouble.
Okay. And one of the things was that you weren't allowed to drive, right?
I got in trouble for driving without a license.
Weren't you a habitual offender?
I don't know. I know that had been like my third, fourth time driving without a license. So
Okay, so you don't recall if it was the big one?
I don't know. From that, I had got told to go to rehab for a month and it would go away.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Is the other thing that was that there were drugs in the car, right?
Yes.
And so you talked to the police, right? And this is, you were pretty scared when you talked to the police, right?
No, I wasn't comfortable, that's for sure.
Because they actually threatened you to take your kids away, right?
They told me they would, yes. They said,
Pardon?
yes.
They said that we'll call DCYS and we'll take your kids away.
They told me they were going to. They said it was done. They were like, let me know what's up because they're like, where you lost your kids. You've lost your kids. And then, they kept saying like, you lost your kids. And then when we get in the room, they were like, listen, we can take your kids away. We can take your kids away, and I just thought it was a little much.
Okay. And so they wanted you to give something to not, so that you could get out of trouble.
They wanted to know, if you look at that, I had a small amount of drugs on my side driving, right? And the person in the passenger seat threw a large amount of drugs in the car. They wanted to know whose drugs those were.
Okay. That was Todd Bernatchez that was in the car with you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Me either.
That's close. And they wanted to talk to you about things that you knew in your community that you could give them, and in exchange, you understood that you could go to rehab and your troubles would be behind you.
No, when I went to go to court that day, my lawyer actually said, Mike, you don't have to agree to anything. I can go talk to the prosecutor, and he just said that you can I worked it out where you can go to rehab for a month. So there was no no agreement to anything, Just like with here, like after I had given them the information, why I said I would show up without no subpoena is because I said something after.
Let's go back to the 20th, to 2020.
Okay.
So you actually gave them information about someone
I'm
else
still very sorry to hear that,
wanted to
but
leave town.
luckily he did sober up and you could have some kind of relationship.
No,
But
I didn't leave
drugs
town. I didn't want to
drugs
stay
are
in
bad,
town and go to rehab because the rehab was in town.
So you gave information and then got worried that the person that you gave information on would read it in their discovery and know that you had given the information, so you kind of went in hiding.
Yeah, well, no, just like all our circle of friends all came to my house every day. So eventually, like in his discovery, he would see that, and then everybody at the house would ask me about it. I wasn't, I did what I did, so I wasn't going to sit there and say no, but at the same time, I didn't want everybody at my house to, and at that time I was doing drugs, so I didn't want like my drug world to fall apart.
Okay. So you were not afraid of that other person that you had given information on?
Oh no, I was worried about it. I was definitely worried about it, you know?
Right. And other information that you gave, because you sort of gave a whole lot of stuff, right?
No, I like, I told him about that one thing, and I told him about things that like I said, I'm not trying to like sit on like a high horse, but I told him about things I wanted to tell him anyway.
Okay.
So they didn't like make me tell him anything. Like I gave them that information, you know?
But they had told you that they were taking your kids away and calling DCOI.
Yeah, about the stuff in the car that I didn't know whose it was. So I couldn't say because I didn't see what had happened. Two people were saying two different things about what happened in the car.
Okay. So one of the bits of information that you did give him on the 20th was about the Fran guns, right?
I don't know if that was on the 20th, but I did end up giving them that, yeah.
It was shortly after you were pulled over with the drugs in the car, right?
I'm not sure if it was then or when they got me on the warrant. Like when they came and got me at the house.
Okay. Well, back on the 20th, you gave information that Ish, Manny, and Adam, but you said that Ish and, first of all, you let the police know that you had information on stolen drugs from Kim and Chris Frain's house.
No,
You didn't tell them that.
no, I don't know anything about stolen drugs.
Did I say drugs or guns?
Drugs.
My mistake.
You're such a great lawyer, Elaine.
You gave police information about that you said you could give.
You don't have to
information
start
on
over.
stolen
Just say guns and move on.
From Chris and Kim Frain's house.
Yes.
And you told them where Kim and Chris Frain lived at the time that their guns were taken, right?
I assume so.
And you told them that Ish, Manny, and then you said, and Adam stole the guns.
I don't know if that's what I said. I don't know. I did tell them about it. So I don't know what I said. Like I said, I haven't reviewed or looked at anything. I said I will.
Okay. And you told the police that, and the prosecutor asked you that you actually held the guns, right?
I don't know. I don't remember saying that.
It's short for Ismail
And you
because they are
also
gangsters
told them
living on
that
the
you held
streets
them
of
at Adam's house.
Manchester, New Hampshire. The toughest guys around.
I never saw it at Adam's house.
Ish is cool.
And you also told them when they asked where you got the information about what happened to the guns, you said you got it from Ish. You remember that?
I don't remember any of it. So if you want to like I'll go over my thing with you if you want, but I don't recall any of that.
Okay. So we'll go over some other things as well. And I said that I was going to set the stage. There was a conversation with the police back in January-ish of 2020. And then in March of 2022, you understood that the police wanted to talk to you.
Yes.
Right? You had spoken to your wife and you understood the police wanted to talk to you.
Yes.
And at that time, you were in Manchester.
No.
When you got the call from your wife.
Oh yes.
Okay. Russell.
No. I wasn't in Manchester. I was en route. So I guess I when I first talked to her, I was driving there, and then when I got there, we talked more about it. So yeah.
Okay. Staying at Beach Street?
I think
Beach Hill, yes.
Beach Hill.
I was picking up my son.
Would mess you up.
I was picking up
very
my son.
bad.
Okay. So,
Meth brains and guns all over the
next-
place.
After you understood from your wife that the police wanted to talk to you, the police showed up in the morning to arrest you, right?
They said, just have Mike come down. So I spent the night. Instead of leaving my son, I spent the night at Mike's house, and then I was supposed to go in the morning, but it was probably like, I don't know, really early in the morning, and all of a sudden it was like in the movies where like people were held down on ropes and like jumped, you know, like everybody came in, and they, you know, it was the U.S. Marshals.
Okay. Bunch of police.
Oh yeah,
Kind of a scary situation, right?
yeah, it was too much.
And that was in March of 2022. Is that right?
I don't know. I believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a copy of,
If it was in March of
a
2022, then he
transcript of that
can't be
interview to
18 months
see if
sober.
the,
Nope. I'm not a lawyer. I can math.
date
It doesn't add up.
refresh your recollection, okay?
Okay.
Nope. Maximum of 15 months.
So this is an interview with Michael Sullivan. That would be you?
March 31st, 2022.
Okay, does that sound right?
Yes.
And they came, they arrested you, they brought you to the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And the arrest was for a fugitive from justice, right?
It was for the same charge, but when I didn't go to rehab.
It must
It
be
was for a
post
fugitive from
post-law
justice
because
for not going
you
to
can be a
court when you
realtor
were
and pre-law.
supposed to on the charge.
We're not going to rehab. I got a fugitive of justice for not going. If I had gone to rehab, that would all gone away. I never went to rehab. They issued that warrant and they came and got me.
So you're saying you didn't miss court on that?
I didn't go to the rehab that I was supposed to go to after that. That's what I was
You were
saying.
also supposed to go to court on those charges after that, right?
No, my lawyer had made it so that if I went to rehab, then those would go away.
Okay. Well, that was the drug charge from January of 2020, right?
I believe so.
You had an outstanding warrant at the time that you were arrested in January of 2020 for September 2019.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, you had a felony drug charge, right?
I don't think I had a felony drug charge. Maybe. Yes, I assume that. Yes, you know, I don't know what my charges were.
When we
I know
become
that,
millionaires
right,
from the Sarah
And,
Poo case,
my lawyer
we
came to me and said,
had
"Hey, I talked to the
Polinsky's
prosecutor.
BPLs.
Like, go to rehab. When you leave this courthouse, go to rehab right now. From here, go there." And I walked out and went home.
So you didn't
Of course you
do
did.
what your lawyer told you to,
Oh.
so those charges were still there.
Yeah.
And you still had your earlier charges from September of 2019.
I don't know. I don't know if that was part of like. I assumed that was part of that because I thought all my stuff was done if I had gone that day. I don't know.
So you didn't go that day, so there's no reason.
No,
keep your
I went and did drugs.
And there were more court hearings that you didn't go to.
No, after that they got me.
To
After that they came in like GI Joe through the windows and stuff. Like they came in and grabbed me and scooped me up and brought me to the.
2 years later, right? In March of 2022.
Yeah, well, they had come out to my house to talk to me about the thing that we can't talk about, right?
Your wife called and said that they were looking for you, right?
They are
Yeah, but they came out and said they want to talk to me about something. Don't worry, you're not in trouble.
It looks like.
And that was at your wife's place in Mass, right?
Yes.
But you were here in Manchester.
And I said, yeah. And I'm like, all right. So my wife was like, hey, Mike, it's okay. And I said, I'll go in the morning. And literally that morning, they all came and got me on a fugitive of justice because I didn't do the rehab.
They're
That's what I
supposed
thought.
to finish today,
And
I think.
so you got
But,
the fugitive from justice
that was a shit show.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you gave the police another statement, and that was the March 31st, 2022 that I just showed you, right?
The statement about the thing that
The guns and anything else that they wanted to ask you, right? You talked about the guns with them.
Judge, may we approach?
Yes.
He seems very, very confused. I don't know if maybe he's just a little dumb. I don't know if you can say that, but I don't think he's trying to hide anything. He seems credible. He just seems like a stupid guy got mixed up with stupider guys and had to go all the way down to the bottom before he had his life turned around. And maybe on the way down, the meth did something to his brain because he seems like a genuine nice guy, but he's just a bit slow, a bit. I don't know. Calling him stupid seems harsh, but he's not the brightest light bulb in the classroom. Let's see if we can call a kid up. I can't speak anymore. It's been 3 hours. It's probably just as nice as when drunk Nicholas buys stuff off the internet, and I like you call it
Go
insomnia.
ahead. We'll fix that. We'll fix that at the lunch break.
Oxwine insomnia, or maybe.
So you can proceed.
So they wanted to talk to you about an investigation regarding Adam Montgomery, right?
Yes.
And you talked to them about the guns
I talked
in that discussion.
to them about that. They wanted to know like all the history and then about the thing. And then like I talked about everything I knew about Adam.
Right. And you talked to them about the guns.
Yes.
And then about a year later, we had a deposition, right?
Yes.
Do you remember what a deposition is?
This is what I love about you ladies from David's chat. We're watching a trial, and now you're talking about online shopping. It's nice to see that we can entertain you while you do the important stuff. And I hope your husband's got the credit card locked away. Who doesn't need glitter roller skates that light up? It couldn't be the wine that made you do that. That was a sound purchase. I'll have to go to the little boys' room, but I'll let the video play, so I'll be off in 2 seconds.
Started asking you
Yes.
questions and you were under oath,
Yep.
right? And that was just a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
And after the deposition, you met with the state to prepare for this.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes.
Okay. And where was that? Was that also in Keene?
Yep. Keene, DOJ, I think. I don't know. It was a like a federal building.
But it was Keene.
Yes.
And you met with them and you didn't look at your prior stuff, but you talked about it, right?
I never looked at the DVDs you guys that I yes.
Okay. So they asked you questions about some of the other things that you had said before, right?
Yes.
And they asked you questions about maybe some inconsistencies and things that you had said before, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long did you talk with them?
Maybe like about 45 minutes, maybe.
Okay. And you said DOJ and you said Keene. Did you ever come to Concord to talk to them?
No.
Okay. But at some point you sat down to prepare for this trial.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about how long you knew Adam. I think that you said, you got to know Adam after Kim was talking about the stolen gun.
I know.
Right?
That's why I'm single, because I
I
can't.
got to know Adam when he came over with Manny.
Okay. That was after Kim had talked about the stolen
That's
guns.
going to be expensive.
I don't.
Right?
I don't think so. That's the first time I had met him, and then I know that I had Alana and her boyfriend around, so it was like all the same group of friends.
Okay. Do you recall saying at the deposition you didn't really get to know Adam until after the guns were stolen?
I never really, like, me and Adam honestly never really got to know each other that much at all. I mean, we did drugs together, and then we didn't do much else, like, so.
So you knew Adam for maybe a little bit of time before the guns were stolen?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of weeks?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, it might have been shorter, it might have been longer, I don't know.
Okay. And the last time that you saw Adam was around what you said was this sale of a gun in front of you, right?
Yes.
And you said that was
The last time I saw him, he came over the house with Todd Bernard, the Benitez. You didn't get it right either. You didn't get the name right either. It's a tough one.
all right. Well, in any event,
Oh, Elaine, you
when
make
you
this
talked
fun.
after Kim came over and accused Ish and Manny of stealing guns from her,
Yes.
she never said that again after you talked to Ish and Manny, right?
Right.
But all the same people were hanging around together, and she said she started accusing other people, right?
She started like that's what I'm saying. She floated out the way she told me is she floated out the camera thing because she was unsure. So she acted like she knew. So like she didn't know. She didn't know if they did or didn't. She was acting like it.
Okay.
The meth fairy told us this story
I think
yesterday
you
too.
talked at the deposition about Kim talking about things in front of people at your house, right?
Yes.
And that she said something about the video, and it was sort of she and Adam were joking back and forth about it.
Yeah. They both laughed about it.
Okay. And you said almost every time that they were together at your house, she would say something about the video, and they would joke about it.
Yes.
And that Adam had said if you had a video, there would be an arrest.
Yes.
And that was kind of true, right? If Kim's got a video of who.
Okay, for the ones who like Farrell, this case is about 2 stolen guns, a lot of crackheads, and a murder trial coming up in 2 months. This guy supposedly heard something about the guns and saw them possibly. He can't remember anything. He talks way too much. He's involuntarily funny, but he's a funny guy. He used to do drugs, but moved away. He has 5 kids, and he believed, even though he had a crack den in his basement, that his wife didn't notice that he did drugs. So, like I said before, I'm not calling him stupid, but I'm saying he's not. Well, there's maybe a few watts short in that light bulb. And to totally, Kim is the crack fairy who testified yesterday. She's the wife of the man who has her gun stolen. She said that Adam stole them because they were over at her house trying to score drugs. She fell asleep because she had been on a 3-day bender. When she woke up the next morning, the crack fairy had left a crack pipe with some crack in it in her kitchen, and as a deal for the crack pipe, it had vanished a long gun, an AR-15. She believed it was an AR-47. That's the special cooperation between the Russians and the Americans, and a Mossberg shotgun. There's possibly also a 38 that was gone, but he's not charged with that. Maybe they bring us back to how that disappeared. And this is just an issue of people who can't remember anything and who is not credible at all. So it's a fun case, and at least we got Elaine's younger sister who is just as confused and can't keep a story straight. And this guy, he likes to ramble, so he's just rambling along with her. So it's keeping us entertained.
Took her
Yeah.
guns. And so that was
It's the actual
conversation
trial.
that was going around in the house for a long time, right?
No, that was the conversation me and him had in the car when he said I know she don't have cancer.
I didn't hear anything about Mountain Dew, so maybe it was the health conscious meth fairies, because soda's gonna ruin your teeth. She had very nice show teeth, but her jaw looks like the rest of it was gone. Oh, thank you very much. I can use the watch hours. It's doing live stream to really pump your numbers. But yesterday was just the same. It started out okay, and when Elaine gets going, she gets going. And I know a lot of lawyers do drugs in the US, but she sounds just as confused as all the meth heads. Soda is bad for the teeth. It's full of sugar. It's better to smoke some crack.
Cameras, Mike, because I'd be in jail right now.
That's not a health
Joking
advice. I
back
don't know
and
if we can
forth.
say
That
that.
was in the house, yes.
Okay, and that was about her accusation.
Oh, yeah. The case in 2 months is the disappearance of his 5-year-old girl who he just had custody over 5 months before she disappeared. She disappeared in 2019, and the police never found the body, but has, with the help of all these crackheads, put together a charge against him for, I believe, beating her to death. It's a 2nd-degree manslaughter. And that's why I'm following this case, because the defense will do anything to make these witnesses seem untrustworthy. Because when we roll into the big case, the murder of his daughter, the defense need them to seem like you can't trust them. That's why Elaine goes into this. You didn't say that. You didn't say it before you had your charges brought against you, and a lot of them are charged with perjury, and it's just a good, clean American fun court case with lots of meth and crack and heroin and guns. So it's fun. It's Friday. Friday is fun day.
That was sometimes Adam, sometimes somebody else, right?
She thought Adam did it, and then
She actually told you Ish and Manny had done.
the handguns, she said that she first told me that the handguns, they had taken them. And then later I had found out she made a deal when they were using the car about the handguns, and they never got stolen from her. That the handguns were part of.
Oh, and yeah, the handguns. There was a 45 and a 38 in a drawer in the bedroom. The 38 went missing. The 45 didn't go missing. Crack Fairy said she left it in the car, but it was in the drawer when her husband got home the next night. And the 38 she probably lent to Ish, because she would borrow him her car and maybe her gun, and then she could get some of that sweet, sweet rock. So, like I said, it's good, clean American Friday fun.
Her deal to let them use the car and all that.
Well, actually, you had learned that Ish and Manny had traded the guns for drugs with her, right?
Yeah,
And
that.
it was,
The car and drugs, yes.
and it was the 380 and the shotgun, you said?
Sustained.
Okay. more than one gun, right?
I believe so.
Okay. And that was something you learned from Manny.
From Ish and Manny, and like all of this was like everybody kind of knew you know, I had a bunch of people in my house. Eventually, everybody knew what happened. You know.
Okay. So
Jimmy, is it like this in
you
your crack
said
house too?
that in those conversations in the house, it was kind of comical, Kim saying she had a camera in the house. Right?
Yes.
And then you said at some point, so this is more than one conversation around a group of people, right?
Yes.
And then you say today that you have a drive over to Adams.
There's no charges or no talk about SA, if that's what you're meaning. It seems like the charges that he beat her to death. And why we'll have to see in August when this the murder trial goes to court. But there's no talk about that. So thank God for that, because that's that would be unbearable. It's one thing that if she was killed, another thing if she was killed and had a very bad time before getting killed. That in my world, it's bad enough to kill your child, but do the other stuff. There's a special place in hell where people like you should have your intestine roasted all the time.
And you and Adam talk about the video, right?
Well, we talk about Kimmy just saying downstairs that she had a, you know, that she had like, I got it all on camera and blah, blah, blah. And then when we left and were on the way over to his house, he was laughing like, I know she don't have cameras, you know?
Like he had been laughing all those other times when she was saying she had a camera of whoever did it, right?
Yes.
And she never said she had a camera of Adam, right? A video of Adam, right?
Well,
that's what she
why,
was saying. She was saying
America
like,
is God's country.
that she had got somebody on the side of the house or something running, you know, I don't know. She was just like trying to like fish out a confession, I think.
From the people that were there in the place.
Yes.
Right? But you had already talked to her about what Ish had told you, that nothing was stolen, he had traded.
That's right.
And let's talk about
Come on, Eileen.
may we approach Your Honor?
Yes.
I'll just try to update on the Harmony case, what's really in it. She went missing in 2019, believed that her father had been charged with the murder. A second-degree murder charge. They alleged that he killed his daughter by repeatedly striking her in the head with his fist. He was accused of fatally beating her around December 7th, 2019, and concealing her body by March 4th, 2020. Also, he got abusing a corpse, falsifying evidence, and tampering with witnesses. He had allegedly forced the mother to lie, or the stepmother. The stepmother pleaded guilty to perjury charges, agreeing to cooperate in this the murder charge. And record shows that the ex-wife has been interviewed in June and told police that Harmony had been murdered in December 2019 by Adam Montgomery, and that Adam had encouraged Kayla to lie about it for the police, basically giving Kayla a cover story and telling her as long as she stuck to the cover story, everything would be okay. Harmony's mother, Crystal. That's a stripper name. She said when these two people knew she was deceased for 2 years and 10 months, she wanted that revealed to the investigators. And they are still looking for the body. So just to take any of the SA things out of there, allegedly he beat her to death, and the stepmom was a witness to it. So again, luckily she wasn't SA'd as far as we know, but this nice man allegedly beat his own daughter to death 4 or 5 months after getting custody over her, and then lied about it and talked to his ex-wife to help conceal the facts. So he seems like a nice guy. She was, I believe, just turned 5. He got custody over her when she was 4.
So I'm going to ask you some questions about your deposition.
I think
Okay.
it's the stripper name.
And you were given a copy of the deposition, but you didn't read it, right?
No, I was given a DVD. Oh yeah, he did give me a copy at the end. Yeah, I didn't read it.
Oh, my
Okay.
neighbor is
So the
making barbecue
DVD
right
was
now.
before you did the
It's torture.
deposition, and you
Yeah.
didn't watch that.
No.
And the deposition you got before prepping with the state for the
Of course you
trial.
can.
No, I got at the end of that.
Okay.
It's the last thing I was handed before I left.
I see. You
Yeah.
have not received or reviewed the transcript prior to talking to the state.
Again, Eileen, get your
And so
facts
they
in
gave
order
it to
before
you to
asking
take
the
home with you?
questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you read it?
Nope.
Okay. So I'm going to have some
I'm sorry.
questions on the deposition. Now, we talked and you said that you were arrested on a fugitive from justice charge for failing to go to rehab, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That and her hair, she just looks like Elena. Yesterday, it just called me, and because she just keeps rambling and hasn't got anything straight, and she keeps on yammering. Why is this guy still on the
I'm
stand?
going to show you page 12. And you're okay with reading in front of a bunch of people?
Sure.
Can that happen? Okay, I'm going to ask you to read the maybe to the bottom of the page, and I'm going to turn to the next page when you're done.
Start at top.
No, from the middle here.
And
That'll do.
you didn't go to the.
Nope. I'm sorry. I did mean to yourself.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, the previous witness, it seems like the police did float the idea that they could get
Okay.
some
Okay.
plea deals,
And
and
I
this guy
asked you
too.
questions about going to rehab and asked if you didn't appear, the case would not be resolved, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then I asked you, was it a fugitive from justice charge? And you said yes, right?
Yes.
And the police were looking for you because you didn't appear at the rehab or the court date, right?
I didn't appear at the rehab, or I said yes.
Or the court date, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Then
She's really getting under my skin.
You said that, well, after that statement, on August 9 of 2022, your case was dropped, right?
Yes.
And you had told, when you had to appear for that court case after they arrested you that day, right?
Yeah, I had to go back for the rehab. I didn't go to that same charge when I went in. Right before we got in, that's when I said to them, I said, hey, man, like, I just want to leave Manchester, be done with it. Like, I've tried to help you guys as much as I can. I told that to the prosecutor, not to anybody that I had talked to prior to then. And
Right.
he said, if that's what, let me check if that's what you did, and then I'll just let it go.
So the police said that when you were there, that they would take your cooperation into consideration and talk to the prosecutor, right?
Yes.
And then when you went to court, you told the prosecutor, hey, I cooperated, talk to the Manchester police, they'll tell you, right?
Yeah, they said they'd help me and put me in jail for 5 days. And then I told the prosecutor when I went in, like they were like, oh, we'll try and the police were like, we'll take it into consideration, and then they didn't. And then that was the first time I had to stay in jail for 5 days.
Well, actually, they told you that they couldn't guarantee it.
The prosecutor said, what if anything, this morning. So it's in the trial, but Elaine has to go down that route too. And again, Elaine, whatever does it matter? I know that you want to make a story about the police. Say, if you blame Adam, you get off the hook. And they implied it earlier, and he said, yeah, okay, they made a deal with me. But they had made a deal with him before with the rehab thing, where he was just too stupid to go to rehab and get the matter settled. But is any one of you thinking, well, he seems like a super credible witness, everything he said is set in stone? Or do you think, well, it sounds a bit like he's maybe been helped to remember some things, but he's doing his best to tell a story as he believes it to be true? And yes, we have all seen the Kenosha district. We have all seen what the police and the prosecutors can do. And I don't know anything. I have no law degree. I don't know anything else than my neighbor is making sausages on the barbecue right now, and it's killing me. That all of these witnesses had made deals with the police. You can be sure of it. But is it a forced deal to say you have to finger him for this? I don't know if you can say finger. That's maybe something you could do with Indigo, but frame him for this. Or is it just to keep people out of prison for some shitty drug charges?
So at that time with the police, they actually told you that, I'm sorry, you actually knew that you were going back to Valley Street, right?
No, at first they were like, they had me stay actually at the police station, and then they said they were going to be back in the morning. And when I got up in the morning, they weren't there. And then somebody else on shift said, we're bringing you to Valley.
Sustained.
You understood that you had to go back to court before you could be released.
Overruled.
You understood you had to go to court before you could be released, right?
They were going to try and make it so that, I could get the,
You understood that you would go to.
they told me they were going to try and get the bail.
Sustained. Just listen to the question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That you understood that you would not be released until after you went to court, right?
When I had stayed that night, they said they were going to let me try and see the
Court.
Sustained.
bailiff to be bailed out. So I wasn't going to go there.
Now, you were arrested on a fugitive from justice charge, right?
Overruled.
A failure to appear for your court hearings, right?
A failure to go to the rehab, yes.
And to court, as you just saw in your deposition before, right?
I had got told to go to a rehab, and then I had gotten arrested for possession like 3 other times, and I've never been in jail, so they had kept giving me deals. And then finally they said, all right, if you go to jail, this is your last chance, Mike. I didn't go, and then I knew I had a warrant for my arrest.
Okay, so, you went to court after the weekend was done, right? A few days later.
Overruled.
I think it was on like a Wednesday. I ended up staying from like Friday to like Tuesday or Wednesday.
And you
I
talked
do
to the
have a whiteboard
prosecutor and you
mode,
said if
and I don't know
cooperated with the
if you can
police,
see,
these charges should go away, right?
I made my
Yes.
interpretation
I said I
of
tried
this
to help
case.
you guys. I want to be done with this because it was, and
Oh, it's turned
because
around.
they're about to talk. And then when he said, I said, look, I've tried to help with big deal things, not like, I had a possession charge and I was like, these were things that like, and he said, if I can verify that all this stuff you told me was true, then I'll let you go.
Okay, and the charges.
So they pended it.
Huh?
So then he pended it and said, I'll send you an.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you for a minute.
This is going all, I don't know where this is going. This guy doesn't know anything about what his prosecutor did. He just wanted to get out of the drug habit. He just wanted to get an easy deal to get away. So he said, whatever you want to hear me talk about, I'll talk about it. I don't think he made stuff up. I don't think he's embellishing, but if they said, do you know anything about Adam? Yeah, I know this. Did you know anything about guns? Yeah.
There's been a lot of objections. I
So-
just want to be
I'm
clear
sorry.
about something. You can answer the question as to what you knew, you thought, and you did.
Okay.
Do not say what someone else told you, okay?
You know the rules.
So.
If you're not
unless-
answering the phone, you are murdered
I just
or
want you to listen to
murdering.
the questions and just say what you thought, what you knew, what you,
What if it's
you
something that I
did.
thought that after someone told me something?
then, the
Good
counsel
question.
will stop
Okay.
you or ask you a
Okay,
different
sorry.
question, okay?
Yep.
The idea is that you cannot say what other people told
Okay.
you, okay? There
Yep.
are a few exceptions to that rule. If one of those exceptions comes up,
Okay.
the lawyer will let you know.
Okay.
Otherwise, please don't share what other people said, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So on August 9, 2022, your felony charge of possession of a controlled drug subsequent was dropped.
Yes.
Okay.
And I understand why he's frustrated. He doesn't understand what's going on around him. He just wants to be as honest as possible.
Let's talk a little bit about timing. After Kim
Yeah,
came
exactly.
to your place to talk about stolen guns the first time, okay? Before you talked to Ish and Manny about what she had said.
That's what you would say if you were doing it.
Okay.
Talking about?
Yep.
I know you don't understand the date, but from that time period, you gave a description of something that happened with Adam and a gun, right? Adam mentioned something about a gun in his house. You got that?
No.
You said that
They
you
were
at-
when-
Wait. You said that you were at the house and Adam said that the AR was in there pointing to a different room at the house.
Right after he had left my house, when we were in the car going to his house, when they had the camera,
Go ahead.
when they had the camera conversation, then we were going over to his house. After he had said that, that's when we get to the house. I meet his girl. They get high. He says, "Oh, it's back here," because she's telling me how much we're talking about everything that had just happened.
When was that in relationship to when Kim came over and said Ish and Manny had stolen the guns and you went and talked to Ish and Manny?
Oh, I'm not sure. That was like, I had heard, like, I heard she was saying that they had got stolen and I had talked to them and I was like, she's not being truthful about what happened,
The way that it happened. It
Yeah.
wasn't stealing,
Yes.
it was-
Yes.
trading. And it
Up
was
there,
more
then
than
you
one
have
gun.
Yes.
Kim
And
being incredible.
how long after those conversations
God.
were you at Adam's house when you say he pointed at a room and said the AR-15 was in that room?
I'm not sure. It was when they were downstairs bickering and laughing at, like, because she was trying to say that the camera was there. And then
I'm talking about the day. That
me too.
Okay, that she came in and it said Ish and Manny stole the guns.
Me too.
From that day, are you at Adam's house?
At
for
Adam's
the
house
first time?
to the time that he said it's in the back room.
Uh-huh.
The same day that we were downstairs and she said the camera.
On the record, Shishi was with me all night. She'd been visiting me here in Denmark. She wasn't at that address, and she never said she was gonna stab that biatch.
Thing to him, and then we were on our way to his house.
About the day that she came in and said Ish and Manny stole her gun. Got that day? Is that a different day
Yes.
than when you went to Adam's?
Yes.
And how long was the day that how far apart was the day that she said Ish and Manny stole my guns and that you went to Adam's house?
I'm not sure. It was just a topic of conversation, that like around that time.
Do you know if it was days or weeks or hours?
If I set a time, I think I would, that wouldn't be right. I'm guessing pretty close to, I don't want to say pretty close to because I don't know.
Okay, but it wasn't the same day?
No,
Probably not the day after?
probably not. Maybe that week. I don't know.
Maybe a
Maybe,
week or so?
maybe, yeah.
Okay, and from the time that you say that Adam pointed to a room and said the AR-15 is there, how long after that did you say that Adam came to your house with a gun or with two guns?
I don't think it was too long because I didn't have anything at that time and they didn't have anything that day. And it was like, kind of like, he was trying to help me out.
So are we talking maybe a week after the first time that you
I'm-
went to Adam's house?
Yeah, I'm guessing somewhere in there. Yeah, probably.
Does that sound about
Sure,
right?
sure,
Not a long period of time, but not immediate.
sure.
Okay. And so this might be a week or two after Kim first said that Adam, that Ish and Manny stole the guns. A week later, you might be at Adam's house and he points to that room is where the AR-15 is. And then maybe a week later until you say that Adam came to your place with an AR-15.
All it takes is a like and a
I
subscription.
think the best way to put it is like it was all
Mostly
around the
everything.
same time. I can't say like, I can't say like a day, 7 days, 14. It was around the same time. All of it was happening,
Not the same day.
not the same day.
All right.
Come on.
When you testified today, you said that you believe that you saw an AR-15 come to your house.
Yeah, I saw an assault rifle that looks, I don't know, like, I can't say that it's an AR-15 or a AK or I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yes.
This is infuriating. She knows this guy know nothing. He can't testify to any specifics. The jury has heard it. We have heard it. All of us is feeling sympathy. If she had stopped after half an hour, instead of just trying to get him to say something concrete, it would have been better for her. Yes, he hasn't got the detail. Yes, he probably made a deal with the police. But her belittling him like this makes him seem more sympathetic and makes me feel, well, why does she have to be this nasty to him? He's just trying to tell the truth. Well, he's a bit confused. sometimes I don't understand the lawyers that it's kind of like the defendants when they take the stance and think they're smarter than everybody else. Why do you have to beat the horse to death? You could do this in half an hour
What's
and
been
have a
marked
clear
as exhibit
image of him being not as trustworthy as he could have been.
33, I'm not gonna have you hold it or anything, but can you see what's inside of that box?
Yeah,
What is it?
an assault rifle, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does this look like what you say that Adam brought to your place?
Yeah, like I saw the barrel and then the stock.
Pardon?
Like the barrel and the stock, there was a sheet over like the middle of it.
Was this the one that you said was loaded with bullets?
That was the shotgun.
No, the shotgun had bullets on the side of it.
Ah, so it's not. It was another gun that you said.
I don't think the shotgun was loaded either. It had the shotgun I saw had bullets on the side. There was like, where you hold the ammo on it.
So it sounds like you got a pretty good look at the assault rifle that you say that Adam brought over and the shotgun that you say Adam brought over.
A pretty good look with a sheet on it. And then I was in the back and it was dark. So they handed it. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Like, I didn't hold it.
Pardon?
I didn't hold it. I didn't really see the whole thing he got it out of the trunk, was walking up to my steps, and he had it, and there was a sheet over the middle of it. So I saw the barrel and the stock.
Okay. So I think I heard
Your
you
handle.
say that you didn't hold it, right?
Right.
And on direct examination, when the prosecutor was asking about your January 2020 statement that after you had gotten pulled over that time, he asked if you said that you held the guns, and you said that you could have.
I could have held the shotgun. The AR, I know I didn't.
Okay. Okay.
Anything
So,
defining itself as an assault rifle. It's 2023, people. You can self-identify now.
You described Adam, as you say, coming over to try and sell a gun, and you're saying that he tried to sell it to you.
I'm saying Adam came over all the time, and we would get, like, we were drug friends, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. It
She's
wasn't
been
like
going
he
for an hour and
only
we're
showed up,
starting over.
as like an arms dealer.
Okay. Adam showed up,
Yeah,
and
you're
you
right.
said that he
She
had
doesn't
a gun,
know
right?
anything about what
Yes.
she's going to ask him. She's
And
just
he was
making it up
wondering
on the
if you were
fly.
interested in buying this gun.
That day when he came over, he was like, as he was getting it out, he was trying to see if I wanted it, and I had nothing. And he was like, "Don't worry, I can get rid of it, and I'll get us something."
Did you say something? Okay, so let's get this situation set up. You say he comes over, you don't have any, you're kind of dope sick, and he comes out, and it's pretty apparent, I think, that you said on direct.
Yes.
It's just sort of out there, and he's walking up the
Driveway.
right?
Yes.
And you said, no, get that out of here.
Yes.
And so he went and he got in the car, and where'd he go?
No, he put it back in the trunk.
Uh-huh.
And then we were sitting there and came up, and when we were talking, I was like, "Man, I don't have shit either." Like, and he was like, "I can get rid of it, and I'll get us some."
And where'd he go?
He stayed at my house, and the person was coming over, and I said, "Don't do it in my driveway." He moved his vehicle to the parking lot to the left of my house.
Uh-huh.
Person came over. I got in the back. He was in the front, handed him the gun. He gave money and drugs, and I took some of the drugs.
Okay. So you are saying that he just sort of moved over a little bit, but put you in the car with the drugs so that you would have with the guns in the trunk, so that you would have quick access to the drugs when he sold the gun.
It's the same story he
Say that
told
again,
you
please.
an
The
hour
parking lot was
ago.
within walking distance, right?
We got in the car. I got in the back seat. They were in the front. the person who was in the driver, he was in the passenger seat. He handed him the gun, he handed him the stuff. Adam gave me the stuff in the back seat. I did drugs right there. And then we got out.
Okay. So you had Adam move from your driveway and move to a parking space that was within walking distance.
It was probably from here to maybe the last person in the row.
Okay. And
A big parking lot that was, it was a bar.
said somebody came, oh, you're in the back seat and somebody comes over.
It wasn't, so I knew, I recognized who it was too.
Okay. And it was somebody that you told police you had seen before in a complex with a brick building, and he and Adam had exchanged drugs and money.
I had money and I wanted to get drugs and I couldn't get it. Adam had, he's like, I have a guy, I always go to it if I'm not talking to you or someone at your house. I said, awesome. We went over there. It was a brick building. There was those fences that's like wood and there's knots in the end. There's holes and like knots in the end of each fence. And we got drugs.
Okay. You told police that you did know the guy from a prior drug
From
exchange.
that time. I recognized the vehicle from that time and the person from that time.
And that you could take the police probably to the place that drug exchange had happened, right?
I knew it was really close to his house because we hadn't like, it was in the same vicinity of his house. So I assumed I could find it.
So you told the police, you knew where it was, right?
I told him I think I could find it.
Okay. And the police actually took you on a ride along after your interview with them in 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could not locate the building where you said this exchange happened, right?
No.
And they asked you if you knew the guy and could you go identify him with a picture, and you said
Basis?
And that's the big problem. She's
they ask
talking
you-
and talking and talking and like
Go ahead.
did they
like
ask
David said,
you
she's
if
not
you could
telling a story.
identify the guy with a picture?
Now she just seems like she berating this poor guy. And
I said
again,
no. I couldn't. I only knew that,
he's a meth head. He's
no,
not
I said no.
super credible, but he's trying his best. That's the feeling I get. And yes, maybe somebody told him he should talk a little bit about some conversation in a car, as we heard when the prosecutor talked to him. But she's been going on for over an hour, and we have moved
Counsel, would you approach?
nowhere. This is just her trying to beat some facts so the jury would think that, well, he's unbelievable. But as I said before, you could do that in 30 minutes. I could visit my neighbor, have some of the sausages I can smell on the barbecue. It's really killing me that it's almost 7 o'clock and he's making barbecue. Oh my God. Why did I have to choose an Elaine case?
I'm going to ask about what you told the police about if they showed you a picture, and if you don't remember, then
I'll read it.
okay. So they asked if you found a picture. If they found a picture of the guy, do you think you could identify him? And you said, I mean, unless it would be like if I looked at.
I don't know. I
and
lost the will to live 2 hours
officer
ago,
asked
so
if
maybe it's
it
been a year.
refreshed your memory or something like that. You said, yeah. other
Elaine
than
does that to you.
So maybe a picture could have refreshed your memory, right?
I never seen him before. I knew what his race was and the color of the car. That's how I knew him. I knew nothing else about him. I knew the car. I recognized the car and what race he was.
And you told them that you saw him close up, right?
I was sitting in the passenger side. Adam was in the driver's side, and it was like this. He was in the front driver's side, and Adam was in his driver's side.
Okay. But
Exactly.
you told them that you saw him like pretty close up, right?
Yeah, our cars are next to each other, and they did it through the window, so a few feet.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's just about 12:30, so we're going to go ahead and take our lunch break. So a reminder, don't talk about the case, don't do any independent research, not with each other or with anybody else. And I'll have you come back at 1:30 and we will resume testimony. Mr. Sullivan, I'm going to ask you to just stay put for a moment while we release the jurors. All rise for the jury, please.
Do I have to stay all day too?
You can stand, yes. But just
No, do I stay all day?
stay put.
Whew. Thank the Lord. Well, that was 4 hours of fun with Elaine doing her best impression of somebody trying to murder all of us by boring us to death. Did they prove anything? Well, yeah, maybe the police were very nice to people who wanted to talk about this Adam guy. Did they prove he had the guns? It's hard to say. I'm not sure right now, but that's my opinion. We have a person claiming to have seen him with a gun. We have a person claiming that he would want to sell him a gun. That's not a smoking gun, pun intended, in my world, but we'll have to see when whatever witnesses Elaine can drag to the mud. I don't understand why we're wasting 4 hours on these witnesses. You could do the state side and the defense side in maximum 30 minutes per side. There's no reason to keep talking for so long. I know she wants to keep getting him to slip up on the stand, but he was a drug addict, and that's probably why his memory isn't that good. And I just felt sorry for him in the end. He seems like a guy who just fell down the rabbit hole in the bad neighborhood and ended up with some bad friends. And I think you see that in a lot of drug cases. But this was the daily morning for you guys, morning entertainment. I have to be out with some friends tonight. It's Friday night. It's almost 7 p.m. at my side. So I won't cover the afternoon. I'll probably hang out with Jamie in the Discord. And if I have the time over the weekend, I will maybe try to do the afternoon stream so we can be caught up on Monday. And again, as a pretty new live streamer, new speaking in English on the internet, I have to thank all of you so very much for hanging out, making this bearable, because Elaine, sure as something I can't say on the internet, doesn't make this bearable. I hope you all check out Mo and Nick tonight. They'll be having a stream. I bet there's going to be shenanigans, maybe even a box of wine showing up, and maybe they will do the topless show like I did earlier. So we'll see. But maybe I'll stream it over the weekend, or else I'll try to get back on Monday. And again, thank you so much for showing up and helping me out with this trial. That's it's showing me different sides of the American culture I didn't know. The meth culture. I've only seen it on in the movies, and I didn't know people got that stupid. So remember Mo and Nick later tonight, and hopefully we'll see each other again soon, or maybe on the Discord while I go in and beat my neighbor for making sausages while I have to work. See you all later. Thank you so much.